Leading on left wing at center for Scott Harlow, crossing the Binghampton line along the left wing board. He steers into the corner, digging it out McQuarrie ahead of Perkins. He left it there in the quarter boards for Bourgeois. Back behind the goal for Culhane with Harlow on his back. Now Culhane deep in the left wing corner. Jammed by Lomo. Dug out by Harlow. Right in front for Perkins. It caromed off his skated, handcuffed him. Back comes Binghampton. Bourgeois right wing at center. Drove it into the Jacks right corner. Covering up Gagne in front of McQuarrie. They tangle for it there. McQuarrie pins Gagne in the Baltimore right wing corner. Whistle sounds. No further play. Played 47 seconds of the opening period for the Baltimore Arena. The game is scoreless. The Jacks have lost 4 of their last 5, and they've only won 5 of the last 20 meetings between these two rivals. 5, 13, and 2. The Jacks' last victory was against this Binghampton team back on Saturday night, April 4th, the regular season and home finale last season. They crushed the Whalers 8-3 on the strength of a 6-goal second-period explosion featuring 5 goals and a blitz of 4.5 minutes. Face-off circle right of Bannerman, Jack's goal. Turcotte with the 7-game scoring streak wins the face-off, and Toomey springs out of the pack on left wing at center. Sean Toomey drove it in behind the Binghampton goal. Daskalakis will blockade at the backboards for Cronin. Now Sean Cronin's clearing pass, halted at the line by Shedden on the left side, backhanding behind the goal. Daskalakis to intercede, stepping in front of Toomey, waiting for it there. Head on left wing at the Binghampton line for Martin. Knocked right back in behind the goal by Shedden for the Jacks. Rounding the net with it, Shaw. Thumped in front by Shedden, but he dishes to the left boards for Cronin. Cronin in the middle at center for Shane Sherla, who swept it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman whipped it around the boards on right wing for Shedden. Shedden steers to center zone, too far for Turcotte. Played back on the Baltimore line by Tebbett. Tebbett up the left boards at center for Turcotte. He was cutting the opposite direction. Vachorik was there to send it into the Baltimore zone. On the left wing boards at the skipjack line, controlled by Holmes, clearing to center. Now Bourgeois steps right back in over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards. Drove it in behind the goal for Martin, trying to center one in front for Sherla. That was knocked away by Shedden to the left wing boards. Controlled at the Jacks line by Turcotte. He steers to the Binghampton zone. Jacks change. Richard at his own line. He sends Bourgeois chasing it down in the Baltimore zone. Bourgeois on the left wing boards. A sharp angle shot kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound comes back to Bourgeois along the boards. He sent it in behind the goal, and Bannerman himself swept it around the boards. On left wing for Sampson at his own line. Gary Sampson from center. Drove it in behind the Binghampton goal. Daskalakis sets it up for Bourgeois. Shadowed in front by Sampson, the former Whaler. Now Bourgeois up on right wing at his own line. At center for Culhane. That was disrupted by Hoover, leaving for Sampson. Gary Sampson over the Binghampton line. Poked off his stick on the defense, but trailing the play is Gagne right in front for Sampson with a shot. Daskalakis the save. Rebound behind the goal, covered by Bourgeois. Binghampton away. Bourgeois up on right wing in his own line for Thompson. Up the boards at center for David Jensen, who drove it in behind the Baltimore goal. Covering the carom is Gagne. Wayne Gagne at his own line for the Jacks. On right wing at center for Pierre. He just steers it into the Binghampton zone, covering Shaw. On left wing at center for Greenlaw, shooting. Bannerman the save. Bannerman controls the rebound, try to clear it of the zone. Swept back in behind the goal by Corriveau. Dug out along the right wing corner boards by Pierre, who peeled back. Around the backboards on left wing for Tim Hoover, fluttering it to center, where it's knocked down by Vachorik on right wing. Mark Vachorik sends it skipping into the Baltimore right corner. Gagne was really muscled there by Greenlaw, and the centering pass for the left boards by McQuarrie skips right into the goal crease, and Bannerman scooped that one up energetically. No further play. 16:33 left opening period. Elmore scoreless from the Baltimore Arena. The face-off will proceed circle right of Bannerman, in the skipjack goal. Binghampton has won 6 in a row, outscoring their opponents 32-9. The Whalers have won their last 2 starts on the road, 3 of their last 4 games on foreign ice. Mike Richard, the league's second leading scorer, opposing the Jacks' Terry Perkins, the league's 8th best. Richard controls to the left point for Brad Shaw. He drove it in behind the goal. Bannerman is there, leaving for Tebbett, who clears to the line. Vachorik contains right point. The screen shot. Bannerman the save. The rebound in front, and Bannerman tucks it underneath his body just outside the crease, with Shane Sherla casting his very formidable shadow into the Baltimore goal crease. Sherla recently reassigned by Hartford. He had 249 penalty minutes in 24 games last season with Binghamton before being summoned by the parent club Hartford Whalers. He has been installed on right wing in place of Mike Miller, whose 19 goals in 17 games were foremost in the circuit before he was elevated to Hartford. Richard and Turcotte in the faceoff, circle left of Bannerman, Baltimore goal. Richard claimed it again, right point for Vachorik. Center point for Shaw, the screen shot that was deflected just wide. The puck along the left wing boards for Toomey, leaving for Armstrong. Back into the corner for Turcotte, directing it around the backboards. On right wing for Shedden, he couldn't reach that. Shaw pinches him from the point, delivering behind the goal for Martin, and he eludes him. But charging in from the right point to control Vachorik, checked in the corner by Toomey. Toomey behind the goal. He wheels to the left wing boards. He was crunched by Sherla. It squirms back to the right point for Vachorik. Vachorik strolls right in with a backhander. Bannerman stick save. Rebound along the boards. Controlled by Richard, who comes off the board, shooting. Blocked in front by Gagne, who was checking Martin. Collected behind the goal by Toomey. Sean Toomey wheels across the left wing boards, ahead of his home line for Gagne. In the middle at center, sharply for Alfie Turcotte. Over the Binghamton line, right circle for Shedden, who storms in behind the goal, forced wide by Shaw. Binghamton slashing penalty coming up. Action halted, and the referee, Darren Loras, I believe, is assessing a Whaler slashing penalty to their most penalized player, giving him exactly 100 minutes now. Captain Tom Martin, the former number 2 draft of Winnipeg, signed as a free agent by Hartford and assigned to Binghamton during the offseason. Martin, 2 minutes for slashing at 4:37, and the Jacks power play has been on a rampage. The Jacks power play 4 for 5 last night, 7 goals in 12 opportunities in their first 2 games this week. They started the week ranked 4th in the league in power play artistry. Terry Perkins with 8 power play goals, second best of the league, opposing David Jensen on the faceoff. Sticks come down. Won by Jensen, deep in the right corner. Culhane jammed by Lomo, steers behind the goal for Harlow. Back into the corner for Lomo. Now Lomo on the left wing boards for Terry Perkins. Perkins checked by Beaudoin, clearing to the line. Tebbett knocks it down left point. Behind the goal, Tebbett for Harlow into the right corner. He tracks it down. He redirects it behind the goal for Lomo, but Beaudoin was there, clearing it along the boards. Harlow holds. Harlow across to the left point for Tebbett. Along the left wing boards for Byron Lomo. Dishing into the corner for Perkins. Back to the left point for Tebbett. And it jumped off his stick all the way to center circle. Gagne controls, leaving for Harlow. Scott Harlow wheels in the middle at center, lashes it around the Binghamton backboards. Charging after the Karen behind the goal is Terry Perkins. Perkins wheels right in front for Gagne with a shot. Deskalakis the save. Rebound left wing corner. Gagne jostles for it there with Jensen. Harlow is there as well. Harlow pries it loose. Behind the goal for Lomo. Lomo brings it in front and backhands it right through the crease. It's loose in front. Perkins was cracked down by Culhane, who sends Binghamton away at center. Over the Baltimore line, right in front for Jensen with a shot, and he fired it wide as Jensen was behind Gagne, and back come the Jacks. Lomo wrapping the center over the Binghamton line through the left circle. Centered it through the crease, and Perkins fired it wide. The rebound to the left point for Tebbett. Now Tebbett wheels right in front. Shoots. Deskalakis to save, and he'll smother it right side of the crease with Lomo and Cronin in a fight to the side of the goal. Sean Cronin and Byron Lomo, and they're really flailing away at each other. And the linesmen will interrupt the mayhem to the side of the Binghamton crease. Byron Lomo, who was traded on Friday by Minnesota to the New York Rangers for Kurt Giles, but remaining with the Skipjacks. A goal and 3 assists for Lomo to celebrate that transaction last night at Hershey. And Sean Cronin, the second-year pro from the University of Illinois, Chicago. He spent most of last season with IHL Turner Cup champion Salt Lake after beginning the season with Binghamton. Jacks still have 28 seconds remaining in the power play. The time of this altercation, 6:09. 28 seconds still remaining in Tom Martin's penalty for the Whalers. Binghamton's penalty killing prowess has been superb. Their penalty killing unit, the Whalers' penalty killing unit, is ranked first in the league. They've only allowed 15 power play goals against in 113 opportunities for the opponents. Lomo and Cronin, 5 of the majors for fighting at 609. Face-off circle right of Daskalakis in the Binghamton goal. Alfie Turcotte for the Jacks. Mike Richard for Binghamton on the face-off, a pair of 24s. All ready to go. Game scoreless, 13:51 left. First period from the Baltimore Arena, where the Jacks earned their first point of the season in their last action here on Wednesday night, 3-3 duel with Springfield. Waiting for the linesman, Kevin Collins. Still waiting. They draw swords. One by Richard, top of the right circle. Thompson in front of Tebbett is there, and he fires it down ice. Now Stefan Richer will slip in behind his own goal. He'll start out. Dishing to the left corner for Tebbett. Across sharply on right wing at center for Alfie Turcotte in full flight over the Binghamton line. Crunched along the boards by Shaw. Shaw rounds the net with it on the right side. Up the boards at center for Richard. Behind Tebbett over the Baltimore line. Richard is ready on goal to the doorstep for Thompson. He fanned on it. Back come the Jacks. Turcotte on right wing at center for Doug Shedden, who barrels it over the Binghamton line. Try to swerve through the right circle. Shaw overpowered him, but it's dug out in the corner by Turcotte. Top of the right circle for Richer with a shot, and Shedden at the crease deflected it wide. The puck is deep in the right circle. Turcotte centered one to the doorstep for Shedden. Swept away neatly by Richard. Puck behind the goal. Vachora clears up on right wing for Thompson at his own line. Martin is on in the middle at center for Richard. Speeding past Tebbett over the Baltimore line. Richard is right in on goal with a shot. Bannerman the pad save. Rebound behind the goal for Tebbett, who whips it down ice to alleviate Binghamton pressure. Reaching it behind the Whaler goal, Jim Culhane. Jacks charged with icing, a break of the action. 12:37 left, first period. Jacks nothing, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. David Poyle. David Poyle. Yeah. Craig did. Got a haircut, eh? You want to come down? Back to the play. Puck along the Baltimore backboards into the right corner. Armstrong turned it over right in front. The backhander by Corriveau was swept away by Tim Hoover all the way down ice. Back to control it behind the Binghamton goal. Deep in the left corner is Bourgeois. Now E. Bourgeois escapes the Sampson check in front. Leads on right wing at center for Culhane, who drove it in behind the Baltimore goal. Bannerman will hold there. He tried to steer it into the right corner for Armstrong. He succeeds. Armstrong behind the goal. Around the left wing boards for Sampson. Checked along the boards by Corriveau, who centers it across to the left circle for Greenlaw, and he fanned on the shot. The Jacks will start out. Jean-Francois at his own line. Evades the check of Greenlaw over the Binghamton line, right in on goal for DeFazio with a shot. He struck the side of the net. A Binghamton penalty coming up. Another shot by DeFazio from the right circle. And Daskalakis to save, sprawling out it outside the crease. We have another Whaler penalty coming up at 8:19, and the Jacks will be presented their second consecutive power play, and the Binghamton culprit is the rookie from Western Michigan University, Jim Culhane. The Jacks power play, as we mentioned, 4 for 5 last night. They have scored, the Jacks power play has triggered 13 goals in the last 5 games. But Binghamton's penalty killing unit is ranked best in the league, and moments ago they had diffused the Skipjacks power play. The face-off will occur circle right of Daskalakis of the Whaler goal. They've outshot the Jacks 7-6 thus far. Turcotte, Harlow, Perkins across in front, Gagne and Shedden on the points. Turcotte, who has engineered a point in 9 of his first 10 games as a Jack, opposing Mike Richard, the former Skipjack, and the league's second leading scorer. Turcotte won it. Back to the left point for Gagne. Gagne steers across right corner for Harlow, behind the goal for Turcotte. Jammed by Shaw. Collected behind the goal by Vachorik. He whipped it to the blue line. Gagne failed to hold it in at the left point. He has to curl back to center. Across on the right side for Shedden. Doug Shedden from center. Winds it around the Binghamton backboards into their right corner. Vachorek clears to the line. It was weak. Gagne contains left point. Across to the right point for Shedden. Shooting Perkins at the crease, deflects it, and Daskalakis nabs it. No further play with Perkins waltzed into the backboards and pinned by Mark Vachorek. And that'll produce a face-off circle left of Daskalakis in the Binghamton goal. 1:29 for the power play. 11:10 for the opening period. And the game is scoreless. Turcotte and Richard one more time. First of a two-game homestand for the Jacks. They'll cap it Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve. Jacks and Newmarket, 5,000 beautiful full-color Jacks team posters will be given away. Compliments of ad crafters. It's reverse jersey night. Jacks will wear their road blacks, and it's also the second Merchants night of the season. The only Jacks home game next week, the holiday week. Sticks come down. Won by Richard. Deep in the corner, Shaw. Checked by Harlow and Perkins. Contained on the right point by Shedden. Although on the boards for Harlow. Behind the goal for Alfie Turcotte. Spins off the check of Vachorek on the right wing boards. Returning it behind the goal for Harlow. He was checked by Shaw, who directs it around the right wing boards for Court Code. Eludes him. Turcotte is on it. Side of the goal for Harlow. Harlow wheels deep in the left corner. He brings it in front. Poked off his stick by Richard, but pinching in for the left point, Gagne. Gagne behind the goal for Turcotte. Turcotte was pulled down from behind by Vachorek, and there'll be another Binghamton slashing penalty to Mark Vachorek. That's 3 slashing penalties in a row to the Whalers, and the Jacks are presented a glorious opportunity here in the form of a two-man advantage for 52 seconds. Last night in the third period at Hershey, the Jacks had a two-man advantage, and they scored 2 power play goals in 17 seconds to come back from a 7-5 deficit. Vachorek, 2 minutes slashing, 9:27. So the Jacks have a grand opportunity here. A two-man advantage for 52 seconds in the scoreless tie. The face-off, once play resumes, will be circle left of Daskalakis, Binghamton goal. The lone forward who he employed by the American League's winningest coach since his tenure nearly 4 years ago in Binghamton, Larry Blow, will be Mike Richard, the former Jack. It'll be Sampson, who's been somewhat silent since his arrival here. Only 1 goal in 12 games. Harlow and Perkins up front. Gagne and Tebbett on the points. All ready to go. Richard and Sampson. Crucial face-off. Waiting for the linesman. Still waiting. They present arms. Puck not dropped. The wait goes on. Sampson has been invited to excuse himself. So it'll be Perkins and Richard. All ready to go. Sticks come down. Won by Richard behind the goal for Bourgeois. He was upended by Sampson, but covering deep in the right corner. Shaw sailing it over the head of Tebbett at the left point. Down ice. Now Bannerman in his own left wing corner. Sweeps it across in front of the unguarded goal for Gagne. Up on left wing at center for Harlow. It eludes him into Binghamton territory where Bourgeois on the right board sends to center. Controlled by Tebbett. Reaching the Binghamton line. Top of the right circle for Harlow. Right in front for Sampson with the shot. He scores! Gary Sampson power play goal. Jacks lead 1-0. The Jacks power play strikes again. Gary Sampson with only his second of the season, a one-man advantage for 1:31. Gary Sampson's second goal of the campaign at 9:56, 1-0 Jacks. 8th time in the last 11 games the Jacks have scored the game's first goal. From the face-off, Toomey sends Doug Shedden charging after it deep in the Binghamton left wing corner. Wrapped up by Culhane. Behind the goal, Toomey pinned by Bourgeois, but Turcotte trails right wing corner for Shedden. Shedden squeezed by Martin. They jostle forward vigorously there. Turcotte finally digs it out. Turcotte to the right point for Gagne, closing in right in front for Toomey with an open side of the crease, and he deflected it wide. The rebound to the right wing boards. Turcotte in the circle for Shedden. Back to the left point for Tebbett off his stick, and the Whalers have a 2-on-1. On right wing at center with the ball over the line, Kortko leaving it in the right circle for Martin, who rolled it to the doorstep, swept away by Bannerman, and the Jacks are away. Doug Shedden to center at the Binghamton line on the left wing for Toomey, storming through the left circle. Sean Toomey wheels in behind the goal, leaves it there for Shedden, centering it. Tebbett in the left circle, fired, and it was blocked by Martin, and the Whalers are away again. Thompson romps to center. Jim Thompson over the Baltimore line, shooting. Gagne deflects it over top of the net. The puck skips into the right corner. Toomey is on it there. Waltzed into the boards by Kortko. Dug out in the corner by Tebbett. 14 seconds for the power play. Now Greg Tebbett across sharply on right wing at his own line for Toomey. Up the middle at center for Gary Sampson all by himself over the Binghamton line. He was jerked down from behind by Beaudoin in front of the Binghamton goal. And Beaudoin got away with one there as Bradshaw from his own line on the right defense fires it down ice, and the Vachorek penalty is over. At the Jacks line, Holmes on left wing, sends to center, where Beaudoin shoots right on. Bannerman kicked it out. The rebound along the right wing boards. Corriveau overskated it. Holmes is on the scene to cover up for the Jacks, and he sweeps it down ice. Reaching it behind the Whaler goal, Culhane ahead of Britt Peer. Icing charge against Baltimore. A break for the action. 8:12 left. Jacks 1, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Is that our second break? That's our second break, right? Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Huh? Is he? Al Koken's here tonight, Jeff Rimmer, David Foyle. Terry Ficcarella rejoining you live, Baltimore Arena. 8:12 left, opening period. 1-0 Jacks. Faceoff left to Bannerman, Baltimore goal. From the faceoff on the right point, Beaudoin, screen shot through a forest of legs. Kicked out by Bannerman. Corriveau parked at the doorstep. Puck deep in the Jacks' right corner, and they'll lock it up. No further play. Boy, from the Jacks again, terribly inefficient on faceoffs deep in their own zone. That was their Waterloo last night in Hershey. And Beaudoin that time hit a shot in a screen, and Bannerman with excellent concentration kicked that away with Corriveau backing into him at the goal mouth. Face-off right of Bannerman, Jack's goal this time. All ready to go. They win it again at the left point. The screen shot by Culhane. No, deflects it in behind the goal. Dug out by Corriveau. He tried to wrap it around on the short side. Bannerman the save. Rebound to the right circle for No. Leading for DeFazio up on right wing at center for Holmes. Over the Binghamton line, right circle for No. No pulls up in the corner. Checked by Corriveau. Contained by Armstrong at the right point. Pinching in with a shot. Kicked out by Daskalakis. The rebound to the right boards is sent to center by Beaudoin. And Armstrong on the right side returns it into Binghamton territory, where it's collected on the right defense by Beaudoin. Across the left wing at center for Scott McQuarrie over the Baltimore line, working on Armstrong, who pinned him along the boards. They jostle for it there. Trying to dig it out for the Jacks is Jean-Francois No. They continue to tangle for it truculently. Finally contained on the left point by Cronin. He drove it behind the Jacks goal, and Tim Hoover will collect it. Now Hoover from the Jacks for his own line, just floats it down ice. Daskalakis himself steers it up on left wing at his own line for Greenlaw. Up the boards at center for Bradshaw, who drove it around the Skipjack backboards deep into their left wing corner. Toomey in front of Thompson will control, circling the net. Sean Toomey at his own line. On right wing at center, skated out by Cronin, and back comes Binghamton. Kortko over the Baltimore line along the left wing boards. He centered one in front, and Tebbett was there. Now Greg Tebbett in full gallop at center. Over the Binghamton line on right wing for Toomey with a shot. Right on, and Daskalakis gloves that one on the short side with Shedden and Tebbett surrounding him at the crease. A break of the action, 6:35 left first period. Jacks 1, Binghamton nothing on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. We got 4 in the top 25 now. No goaltenders, of course, listed in the top, probably the top 50. Arena, 6:35 left first period, 1-0 Jacks. The power play goal, Gary Sampson second from Scott Harlow and Greg Tebbett at 9:56. Harlow's 6th point in only his 3rd game as a Skipjack. 3 goals and 3 assists. Face-off once play resumes. Circle left of Cleon Daskalakis in the Binghamton goal. Terry Perkins for the Skipjacks. Mike Richard for Binghamton on the face-off. Shots on goal are even at 11 aside. All ready to go, waiting for the linesman. Won by Perkins. Kangaroos top of the circle for Harlow. Harlow was muscled by Beaudoin. Comes back to center zone, and Tevitt comes across on right wing to backhand behind the goal. Beaudoin directs it up the left boards for Martin. Knocked back behind the goal by Perkins. Controlling again, Beaudoin. Up the left boards again one more time for Martin at his own line, and this time he's away at center. Tom Martin over the Baltimore line. Along the left wing boards with a sharp angle shot right through the crease. The rebound to the right point for Vachorik, who waffled one in front, blocked by Tevitt, who sends Perkins on his way at center. Over the Binghamton line on the right boards for Lomo, knocked away by Beaudoin. Back to the Jacks line, Richer controls. Stefan Richer head manning it for Lomo. He collides with Sherla, who worked it loose for Richard, who steps it over the Baltimore line. Richard left circle for Martin with a shot. Bannerman sealed the angle. The rebound behind the goal. Martin brings it in front and scores. Tom Martin scores, and Binghamton, I believe, is tied at 1-1. The red light is on. Tom Martin just streaked in behind the Jacks goal, and he captured the rebound and just wrapped it around on the short side. The Jacks are disputing it with the referee, Darren Loris. I think the Jacks are claiming that the goalpost was lifted from its moorings. Well, that would seem to be an ironic twist of fate, since it was a goalpost lifted from its moorings here on Wednesday night that cost the Jacks that elusive initial victory of the season. You may recall Scott Harlow appeared to have scored the Jacks' fourth power play goal of the night with 7 minutes remaining in regulation to snap a 3-all tie. However, the referee that night, Lance Roberts, disallowed the goal, claiming that the left goalpost was lifted from its moorings. Tom Martin will be credited with the goal, his 12th and his third against the Jacks in as many games, at 14-16 on the old wraparound technique. The dispute is continuing at center ice. Jacks captain Doug Shedden is there, along with Wayne Gagne, but the Jacks will lose this argument, of course. Martin from Richard, as Mike Richard continues to accumulate points this season. Martin from Richard and Beaudoin at 14-16. It's a 1-all tie. From the face of it, the Jacks line. Collected on the right side by Gagne. Wayne Gagne from center, wrapped it in behind the Binghamton goal. Shaw controls barely in front of Turcotte. Leads on left wing in his own line for Jeff Greenlaw. Greenlaw from center, drove it in behind the Jacks goal, charging in after it. He seizes it there, side of the goal for Corriveau. Back along the right wing boards for Greenlaw, overpowered by Turcotte. Puck skids in behind the goal. Toomey is on it. Now Toomey behind the goal. He poked it loose into the right wing corner. Now Toomey evades the check of Greenlaw. He's underway on left wing at center for Turcotte, darting in over the Binghamton line, left at left wing boards for Toomey, the trailer behind the goal for Shedden. Checked by Daskalakis, who stepped out. Control at the Binghamton line on the left side by Greenlaw. Jeff Greenlaw's rink-wide pass seized at center by Tim Hoover, who stepped in front of that one to fire in behind the goal. Jacks are changing. Covering behind the goal, Culhane eases it up on left wing in his own line for Greenlaw in the middle at center for David Jensen. Reaches the Baltimore line, skidded off by Harlow. Back at center zone, Beaudoin on the right side. Returns it behind the Baltimore goal. Stefan Richer will hurry after it. 4:34 for the period, a 1-all tie. Now Richer, shadowed in front by David Jensen, recently reassigned for rehab by Parent Club Washington. Richer up the middle in front of the goal for Lomo. He whirls to the right wing boards out of harm's way, and he'll start out. Now Lomo all the way across on left wing. Motoring to center, over the Binghamton line, and offside in the center avenue is Terry Perkins. I think he was sent toppling over the blue line by the hefty check of Sean Cronin on the Binghamton defense. That forced the offside with 4:14 left first period. It's 1-1. Martin's 12th from Richard and Beaudoin at 14:56 on the wraparound. Martin was the trailer, and he streaked in behind the Jacks goal and wrapped it around on the short side. Terry Perkins and Mike Richard on the faceoff. Sticks come down to the left side for Shaw. Now Bradshaw from center sends it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman will barricade there. He drove it around the boards past Harlow, contained on the right point by Mark Vachorik. Vachorik sweeps it back in behind the goal. Bannerman again is out of the goal. He sends it around the right boards for Lomo. Byron Lomo up on left wing at center for Harlow. Oh, the Binghamton line for Perkins. Top of the circle. Shooting. Gaskalakis the save. The rebound along the boards. Barging in from the point is Armstrong. Armstrong muscles for it there with Cronin in a robust fashion. They continue to jostle for it. It squirts in behind the goal. Harlow shouldered at the backboards by Vachorik. Vachorik behind the goal. Checked by Lomo, but it was Lomo who falls. And then Vachorik just thumped Lomo. Lomo was lying on the ice, and while Lomo was lying on the ice, Vachorik roughed him up, and he'll be chased at 16:36 for roughing. A break for the action. The Jacks' third power play of the period coming up. 3:24 left in it. Jacks 1, Binghamton 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Not dressed tonight.
Didn't dress last night either. He didn't play. He didn't play after the first few moments of the second period here Wednesday night. He just sat on the end of the bench. We're close.
Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Mark Vachorik, 2 minutes for roughing at 16:36. Jacks presented yet another power play. They have engineered their lone goal thus far in a power play to stake them to a 1-0 lead that has since vanished on the Tom Martin goal moments ago. From the faceoff, Wayne Gagne in a leisurely-like fashion, lassoing it behind the goal. Gagne whips it across on left wing at his own line for Greg Tebbett, steaming to center. Tebbett floats it into the Binghamton corner. Charging and after it on the right side is Turcotte. He delivers it behind the goal. No skipjack player was there. Baudouin was there, though. Baudouin on the left wing boards at his own line for Kortko, and he just sends it down ice. Tebbett chased him behind the goal by Thompson, who's draped over his back, but Tebbett powers it up on right wing at center for Turcotte, who dances in over the Binghamton line along the right wing boards, ducking it underneath the check of Culhane. Turcotte brings it right in front for Sampson with a shot, a golden save by Daskalakis. The rebound controlled in the Binghamton right corner for Kortko. At his own line for Thompson, who clears to center, and Thompson just bowled over Gagne at center as Gary Sampson sends Shedden charging after it into the Binghamton quarter. Dug out there by the Whalers, though, Mike Richard. Up the left wing boards for Thompson, who sends it past an upright Wayne Gagne at the right point, down ice. 52 seconds for the power play as Tebbett controls at his own line. His pass right on the stick of Martin, reaching the Baltimore line, but Tebbett retraced his steps and covered up neatly. Controlled in front of the goal by Gagne, slipping it ahead for Tebbett. The breakaway pass for No. Over the Binghamton line, No pulls up in the right circle. He tried to dish back to the right point for Gagne, and Richard steals it with a breakaway pass to Martin at center. Over the Baltimore line, Martin is in alone with a shot. A great save by Bannerman. Jacks still have the power play as Tebbett feeds at center. Over the line on the left wing boards for Michael Holmes. He drove it in behind the goal, covering up for Binghamton. Behind the goal is Cronin. He ran into DeFazio. Armstrong pinching in from the right point into the corner, poked it back behind the goal. DeFazio tangles there with Cronin. It's contained on the right point by Holmes. Now Michael Holmes along the boards. Drove it back behind the goal. The penalty is over. Daskalakis out of the goal. Drove it around the boards. Blocked on the right point by Armstrong. Now Armstrong into the corner for No. Behind the goal for Holmes. Back into the corner for No. Jean-Francois No to the right point for Armstrong. Armstrong behind the goal for Holmes. Holmes was just pulled down and pounced down by Tom Martin. And there'll be another Binghamton penalty coming up at 18:54. The Whalers continue their intimidating tactics here in the opening period in this 1-1 tie. Tom Martin that time dragged down the Skipjacks player Michael Holmes behind the goal and then just pounced on top of him. And Martin will be chased with yet another Binghamton penalty. But the Whalers can afford to do it because they have the premier penalty killing unit in the league, though the Jacks' sole goal in this period has been the product of their vaunted power play. Martin with his second minor of the period for the Whalers' most penalized player and team captain at 18:54, and it's a double minor. The first one for yanking down Holmes behind the goal, and the second one for pouncing on top of him, which was totally uncalled for and unprovoked. Martin, 2 minutes for cross-checking. That was the original infraction, and then 2 minutes for roughing on the power slam and the pin. Time of the penalty, 18:54. Jacks have a 4-minute power play with 1:06 left, opening period in this 1-1 tie. Perkins in the faceoff with Jensen, the ladder control, but it's contained center point by Gagne with a shot, and he fired it wide. The rebound to the right side of the goal. Collected by Culhane, and he leads a 3-man rush to center. Jim Culhane over the ball to the line. His shot was deflected into the corner by Gagne. Controlled in the right circle by Wayne Gagne. Poked away from him by Jensen, though. Back to center zone, where Culhane sends back into Baltimore territory. Wayne Gagne will control it for Shedden at his own line. In the middle at center for Harlow, reaching the Binghampton line on the left boards for Lomo. Right in front for Harlow. Harlow lost control of it as he was trying to squeeze off the backhander at the doorstep. And then Yves Beaudoin just sprawls on it behind the Binghampton goal, and that halts action. Temporary relief for Binghampton. Boy, Scott Harlow was alone in front. He was attempting to deke Daskalakis from the crease and then slipped the puck to the backhand and deposit it home, and he failed to execute it. 28 seconds for the period, 3:22 for the power play for the Skipjacks. It's a 1-1 tie. Stay tuned. We will guest with the Skipjacks fan of the game. That's coming up at our first intermission tonight. It'll be Alfie Turcotte for the Jacks. Mike Richard for Binghampton on the faceoff. Shots on goal are even at 13 aside. All ready to go, waiting for the linesman. Won by Richard, deep in the right corner for Shaw. Chased him behind the goal by Sampson. He evades his check. Now Brad Shaw leads on left wing at center for Roger Kortko. The former New York Islander just sends it in behind the Baltimore goal. Doug Shedden will control it with 14 seconds left in the period. Perhaps time for one more organized rush. Now Shedden at his own line, leads sharply on left wing at center for Turcotte, zooming in over the Binghampton line, swerving through the circle behind the goal, centered it right in front. Toomey shoots. What a save on Daskalakis, and time runs out with Sampson and Vachorik, and his play is underway. The puck is all the way back behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Wayne Gagne. Gagne will engineer the power play rush. Up on right wing at center for Terry Perkins, who fires it in off the Binghampton backboards. A Kangaroo to the left side. Turcotte pokes it into the corner for Perkins, pulling up. Working on Culhane, who wraps him up. They tangle there. Turcotte dug it out back to the left point for Gagne, who pours right in on goal with a shot. A smothering block by Yves Beaudoin. And no further play. Boy, Yves Beaudoin just flung his body in a fearless fashion in front of the Gagne blast, as Wayne Gagne from the left point just poured right in on goal. He had a clear avenue to negotiate. The face-off forthcoming, circle left of goaltender Cleon Daskalakis, and the Binghampton goal still 2:24 for the power play, and it's a 1-1 tie. Turcotte in the face-off with Jensen, won by Turcotte, corralled on the right boards by Toomey, poking into the corner for Perkins. Perkins now along the right wing boards for Turcotte. Now Alfie Turcotte, jammed by Jensen, dug out in the corner though by Perkins. Center point for Shedden with a shot, and it struck Toomey's skate in front. The puck is loose in front of the goal. Finally captured by Brad Shaw. Now Shaw at center for Jensen, who's breaking away on the Baltimore line. Jensen is in on goal. He scores! David Jensen, a breakaway goal, shorthanded, and Binghampton takes the lead 2-1. And that was inevitable. The Whalers have been behind the Skipjack defense all night long while skating shorthanded. David Jensen with his first goal since being reassigned by Parent Club Washington on the breakaway. That is the 6th shorthanded goal the Jacks have surrendered this season, and 3 of them have been against Binghampton. And that's not the way to start the second period, and the Jacks' Alfie Turcotte is departing the scene, and he appears to be injured. Alfie Turcotte will depart, and they're signaling for the team doctor to come to the Baltimore dressing room. And boy, that would be devastating to the Skipjack team. It was Jensen from Richard and Shaw at 58 seconds. The Jacks still have a power play, but they trail now 2-1. Now Richard over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards. Squeezed by Tebbett. Commandeered in front of the goal by Sampson, leaving for Gagne. Back for Sampson on right wing at center. Gary Sampson zooming in over the Binghamton line along the boards. He was tripped by Jensen, and there'll be another Binghamton penalty coming up. And I believe David Jensen is the latest Whaler to be chased, and the Jacks are presented another two-man advantage for 1:30. Boy, the Jacks have had repeated power plays here tonight. Still 1:30 left in the double-minded to Martin. It doesn't seem to matter to the Whalers. They've actually have claimed a 2-1 lead, erasing a 1-0 deficit. Murray Bannerman, by the way, has returned to the Skipjack bench. Murray Bannerman is back on the Jacks bench, but Alfie Turcotte has departed with an apparent injury. They summoned the team doctor to the Baltimore dressing room when Turcotte departed under the escort of trainer Dave Sherrod. The Jacks lost Rocky Dundas last night with a shoulder separation, and he'll be gone for a long time. From the faceoff, Beaudoin behind the goal, rockets it off the boards, off the stick of Tebbett at the left point to center. Tebbett will control it at center zone. Rinkwad on right wing for Byron Lomo. Over the Binghamton line for Terry Perkins at the top of the left circle, pulling up. Perkins pass stolen by Beaudoin, clearing to the line, knocked down by Tebbett. Center point for Gagne. Back to the left point for Tebbett and back for Gagne. Right in front for Harlow with a shot. Deskalakis the save, and he'll smother it at the right goalpost. No further play. 1:03 for the Jacks two-man advantage. 1:33 remaining in the overall power play at 18:09 for the period. But Binghamton has chilled the Jacks early in this second period with a short-handed breakaway goal. David Jensen from Richard, who has assisted on both goals tonight, and Brad Shaw. Mike Richard now has 10 points in less than 3 games against his former team this season. He has a goal and 9 assists. From the faceoff, puck deep in the Binghamton right corner. Shaw evades the check of a falling Terry Perkins, and he'll start out at his own line. The league's premier defenseman last season drops it off for Mike Richard. Back to the side of the Binghamton goal for Shaw. Shaw fires it down ice. The Whalers are dominating puck possession, and they're 2 men short. Now Wayne Gagne rounds the Baltimore net. Gagne leads in the middle at center for Scott Harlow, evading the check of Richard. Harlow heads in over the Binghamton line. Left at right circle for Perkins. Back into the corner for Harlow. Now Scott Harlow coils along the right wing boards. Back to the right point for Gagne. Back to the boards for Harlow. Now Harlow, right point for Gagne, left point for Greg Tebbett. Now Tebbett into the circle, shoots. Blocked by Beaudoin, and Yves Beaudoin sends it to center. 12 seconds for the two-man advantage. Now Perkins ventures in over the Binghamton line. Terry Perkins in the left circle, shoots. Deskalakis to save, and he'll cover with Harlow and Lomo converging on him at the crease. No further play. 4 seconds for the two-man advantage. 34 seconds for the overall power play. And the Jacks power play has swooned here in this second period. They have surrendered a short-handed goal for the 6th time this season. And with the two-man advantage, they have not been especially dominating. We'll try to ascertain the matter with Alfie Turcotte when we have the opportunity. But he departed from the Baltimore dressing room. The injuries now are beginning to cripple the Jacks. The combination of losses and injuries, and this is turning into a very unusual season. No one the faceoff. At the right point, Ian Armstrong controls. Left point for Hoover with a shot. Deskalakis kicks it over the glass into the crowd. No further play. And the first penalty to Martin has expired. 27 seconds for the Jacks one-man advantage. 17:03 left middle period. Binghamton 2, the Jacks 1. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. What happened? That's our first break of the period, right? What are they breaking for? That was supposed to be an ID. Oh, man. Back to the play. Puck along the right wing boards. Toomey across the left point for Hoover. Right in front for Shedden. Oh, to the crease for Harlow, and he was slammed down by Vachorik. And it's fired down ice by Kortko. Covering up behind the goal is Hoover. Now Hoover's pass was seized by Jensen, who just stepped on the penalty over. Jensen back to his own line. On the left defense for Shaw. In the middle at center for McQuarrie, who hops it over the Baltimore line, top of the right circle, shooting. Hoover on his knees blocks it. He sends Jean-Francois chasing it down into Binghamton territory, but Shaw came across and cut him off, and he just rolls it down ice. Armstrong hurries after it behind the goal, deep in the right corner, tries to shed the check of Greenlaw. Now Armstrong up the boards for Shedden. Doug Shedden at his own line. He barrels to center. Shedden at the Binghamton line, swerving through the right circle, swooping in behind the goal. Shedden centers it right in front. Toomey shoots. Great save. Daskalakis pouncing on it in the crease. No further play. Boy, Doug Shedden that time barged in on right wing over the Binghamton line, swooping in behind the goal, and then he centered one. And Sean Toomey loaded his gun and fired, and Daskalakis closed the door and squelched the Toomey bid to equalize matters with 15:53 left middle period, and it's 2-1 Whalers. Faceoff will be circled left of Daskalakis' Binghamton goal. It'll be Gary Sampson, who has been the architect of the Jacks' lone goal tonight, in the faceoff, and he'll be opposing the Whalers player, I believe. It's Richard, and he won it. Richard behind the goal for Vachorik. Now Vachorik ahead at his own line for Richard. Mike Richard to center, motoring in over the Baltimore line, checked in front by Tebbett. Tebbett clears up the right side at center for Dean DeFazio. DeFazio over the Binghamton line for Gary Sampson. Sampson charges into the corner, slips the check of Vachorik at the corner boards, but couldn't control the puck. But then he takes it back from Vachorik behind the goal. Now Sampson wheels to the side of the goal. Left it there for DeFazio. Back behind the goal for Sampson. Sampson into the right corner for Holmes, who centered one. And that was deflected to center zone by Richard. Controlled by DeFazio. Dean DeFazio on left wing for Michael Holmes. He stroked it around the Binghamton backboards all the way to the left side. On it there is Cronin. His pass halted right circle by Perkins, who fired it wide. Rebound back to the left point for Tebbett. Behind the goal for Holmes. Holmes in the circle for Perkins, who centered one in front. The Richey backhander didn't make it through. Blocked by Vachorik in front, and he backhands down ice. Tebbett to reach it behind the Jacks goal. Binghamton charged with icing. 14:48 left middle period. Now let's see if we can have a station ID. The score, Binghamton 2, the Jacks 1. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Murray Bannerman had an equipment problem with his skate. Although Royden Gunn continues in goal, still have not received word on the Turcotte injury. From the faceoff in front of the Binghamton goal, they'll control action. Halted. We have another injured Skipjack player as Jim Thompson bowled over the Baltimore defenseman. I believe that's Tim Hoover. Well, I'll tell you, Hoover has just been dogged with injuries this season. He's had 2 concussions, a fractured nose, and he's had a pulled back muscle. And Jim Thompson, who led the league in penalty minutes last season with 360, just bowled over Hoover with a hefty check at the Binghamton line where Hoover was stationed. And the trainer, this time the Binghamton trainer, John Smith, is on the scene because the Baltimore trainer, Dave Sherritt, is still back in the Jacks dressing room administering to the first Jacks injured player of the period, Alfie Turcotte. And I think Turcotte is returning. Alfie Turcotte is going to return to the scene. So apparently it was only a slight injury to Turcotte, and he's back. And the Jacks and their fans breathe a collective sigh of relief. Tim Hoover is now in a sitting up position. John Martin, one of the Skipjacks paramedics, is there as well, with John Smith, the Binghamton trainer. And I believe Hoover has incurred an injury to, looks like it's one of his legs. It may be his left knee. And he will be escorted from the premises. The Jacks, of course, have been strapped and sapped of manpower on the defense this season. They have a shortage of talent there, and they have a lack of depth in that position as well. So this does not help matters whatsoever. Watching Tim Hoover depart, it appears to be his left leg as he's being escorted from the scene. with 14:39 left, second period. It's 2-1 Binghamton, despite the fact that the Jacks have had 5 power play opportunities. It's a Whalers short-handed breakaway goal at 58 seconds early in the second period that has vaulted the Southern Division leaders into the lead. Jacks once led 1-0 on a Gary Sampson power play effort back at 9:56 of the stanza. All ready to go for the faceoff. Played back at the Binghamton line by Culhane. A cross on right wing at center for Bradshaw. He drove it around the Baltimore backboards, deep in the corner. Gagne will control. Gagne turned it over to Jensen. Jensen swoops in behind the Jacks goal on the right wing boards, pulling up. He was checked by Perkins, and it skims to center, where Jim Culhane on left wing knocked it back into Skipjack territory. Gagne along the boards, upended by Jensen, but the puck skids back to center zone. Thompson on right wing, thumped along the boards by Harlow, collected by Lomo. Now Lomo at center, over the Binghamton line for Scott Harlow. Harlow along the left wing boards, wheels into the corner, trying to center one in front for Perkins. He was muscled by Thompson, and from the Binghamton left boards, Roger Kortko sends it down ice. Whalers change with Gagne controlling in front of the goal. Wayne Gagne on left wing at center for Harlow, beyond him all the way down ice. Daskalakis forced to sweep it away from the onrushing Alfie Turcotte, who had penetrated. Turcotte steals anyway in the left circle, but he was upended on the defense by Bourgeois. Controlled at the Binghamton line by Jeff Greenlaw on left wing. Greenlaw from center. Drove it in behind the Jacks goal. Gunn swept it away from the onrushing Scott McQuarrie, but it comes back to McQuarrie behind the goal. He centered one in front. Tebbett knocked it away to the left wing boards for Turcotte. Turcotte up the boards at center for Shedden. Beyond him all the way down ice. And reaching it before Shedden behind the Binghamton goal was Sean Cronin. Jacks charged with icing. 13-17 left, second period. It's 2-1 Binghamton, though the Jacks have outshot the Whalers 5-1 in the second period. The Whalers' only shot on goal resulted in a shorthanded breakaway goal by David Jensen. Face-off circle left of Gunn, who supplanted the starter, Murray Bannerman, at the start of this period. Bannerman was felled with an equipment repair as he had skate problems. It'll be Turcotte and Richard on the faceoff, the latter with 2 assists tonight. Alfie Turcotte controlled in the left corner for Tebbett, up the boards for Toomey. Now Toomey, side of the goal for Tebbett. Up on left wing for Alfie Turcotte at his own line. Up the boards at center for Shedden. Barreling in over the Binghamton line. Shedden pulls up right in front for Turcotte. And he was wrapped up beautifully by Martin. The puck behind the Binghamton goal. Collected there by Mike Richard. He scurries to center. Poked off his stick by Tebbett. Corralled on left wing by Toomey, who sends it to the Binghamton line, where it's gobbled up by Vachorik. Mark Vachorik from center. Drove it into the Skipjack right corner. Covering the carom is Richer. On right wing in his own line for Turcotte in the middle at center for Toomey. Storming in over the Binghamton line. Toomey fired. Daskalakis to save the rebound in the right corner. Vachorik sweeps it around the left wing boards for Martin. Now Martin in the middle at center for Richard at the Baltimore line and right wing for Sherla. Stripped off his stick neatly by Tebbett, who feeds in the middle at center for Turcotte, who romps it over the Binghamton line. Right circle, Turcotte's backhander right on. Daskalakis Pratt falls across the crease to control it on the right side for Sherla. Sherla leads on left wing at center for Tom Martin, who drove it in behind the Baltimore goal. Covering the reptiling puck is Tebbett. Now Greg Tebbett, a long lead. In the middle at center for Britt Peer. He couldn't catch up with that one, but trailing is Toomey. Over the Binghamton line along the left wing boards for Peer. Peer right in front for Tebbett with a shot. Stick save Daskalakis. Rebound behind the goal. Corralled by David Jensen, and he's underway at his own line. Jensen's gathering speed at center over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards into the corner. He dropped it off along the boards for the trailer Thompson. Jim Thompson behind the goal for Kortko, checked by DeFazio. Collected behind the goal by Sampson. Leading on right wing for Peer. Jammed along the boards by Culhane, who pinched in. Covering up behind the Jacks goal is Tebbett. There's going to be a Jacks penalty coming up. Britt Peer and Jim Culhane were tangling along the boards, and I think Peer was caught in a retaliation, and he'll be chased for holding. A rare shift for Britt Peer tonight results in the Jacks' first shorthanded quandary of the evening at 8:33. A break in the action. Binghamton power play coming up. 11:27 left, second period. Binghamton 2, the Skipjacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Skipjacks penalty to number 7, Britt Peer. 2 minutes for holding. Time to penalty, 8:33.
ready to go. Face-off right of gun, Jack's goal. Binghamton with its first power play of the night. Their power play nearly 34% proficiency. Gary Sampson will control at his own line. He springs out of the pack on left wing at center. At the Binghamton line, poked off his stick by Shaw. And corralled down the line by Scott McQuarrie, the OHL Junior A scoring champion last season. McQuarrie over the Baltimore line along the left wing boards for Corriveau. Corriveau behind the goal for Martin. Leaving for McQuarrie. Now McQuarrie wheels along the left wing boards across to the right point for Shaw. Right in front for McQuarrie to the doorstep for Martin, and he was thumped to the ice by Armstrong before he pulled the trigger. But it's dug out the left wing corner by McQuarrie. McQuarrie centered one in front, and Corriveau fanned on as it just dribbled off his stick to the Jacks left wing corner. And Michael Holmes fires to the Binghamton line. Controlled by Richard in front of Sampson. Richard at center for Shaw. Shaw was cracked down by Holmes, but trailing Martin at the Baltimore line. His drop pass on the line was knocked back to center by Sampson. Controlled by Mike Richard, who's chased back into his own zone on the left boards by Gary Sampson. Richard across to the right boards for Shaw, still inside the Binghamton line with under a minute for their power play. Now Shaw at his own line. Leads on right wing at center for McQuarrie. McQuarrie checked by Perkins, seized at the skipjack line by Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne twisting and turning inside the line. Leads on left wing at center for Michael Holmes. It traveled 2 lines, and the Jacks are victimized on the offside with 40 seconds remaining. And the Jacks penalty to Britt Peer, 10:07 for the middle period, 2-1. Binghamton, though the Jacks have outshot the Whalers 8-1 in this period. The Whalers only shot the only goal of the period. David Jensen on a breakaway shorthanded from Mike Richard and Brad Shaw at 58 seconds. The Jacks have not been heard from since 9:56 of the opening period when Gary Sampson staked them to a 1-0 lead on a power play. All ready to go from the faceoff on the left point. Contained by Bourgeois. Drove it in behind the goal. Gunn poked it away at the last instant from Greenlaw, but contained left point by Culhane. He drove it cross ice into the right corner for Kortko. Wrapped up assertively by Tebbett. They jostle for it there. Lomo trying to maneuver it with his skate deep in the left wing corner. He sails it to the line. Knocked down right point by Bourgeois, but knocked off his stick by Perkins on left wing at center for Lomo. Skidded off by Jensen, and back comes Binghamton. Greenlaw. Jeff Greenlaw steps it over the Baltimore line. The drop pass for Culhane, and he fanned on it. You could feel the breeze from here. Boy, did he whiff that one as the penalty is over to the Jacks. Britt Peer. Whalers control. Kortko on left wing at center. Oh, the Baltimore line along the boards. Checked by Richer, who was bowled over by Greenlaw. But covering up on the boards is Lomo to float it to center. Richard will tip it back into the Baltimore zone. Tebbett controls that. On the right defense for Richer, steering outside the line to center zone, where Baudouin returns it behind the Baltimore goal. Stefan Richer corrals it there. Leads on right wing for Lomo. Now Lomo along the boards inside his own line. His pass knocked down at the line by Richard into the corner for Martin. Right in front for Sherlin. It caromed off his skate as he was upended in front by Richer. And back come the Jacks. Sean Toomey at his own line. Romping to center of the Binghamton line for Byron Lomo. And he's offside on right wing as Lomo and Perkins had penetrated behind the defense off that crisp lead pass. That was maestroed by Sean Toomey. And the Whalers escape a close call that time. 8:43 left, second period. It's 2-1 Binghamton. And the face-off in the offing outside the Whaler blue line. Below us on the skipjack right wing. Want to remind you again that Washington's Vice President and General Manager David Poyle will guest with us. That's coming up at our second intermission tonight. So please stay tuned for that. Binghamton coach Larry Plow, with 8:43 left in the middle period, will spend his team's only a 30-second timeout. Apparently, he is somewhat concerned about his team's brand of hockey. They have been outshot. The Whalers have 8-1 in this second period. But the Whalers' penalty killers have been the difference tonight. Certainly, they did yield 1 power play goal against, but the Jacks have enjoyed 6 power play opportunities, and they've only capitalized once. A power play that has produced, entering tonight's game, 13 goals in the last 5 games and 7 in the 2 games this week. Face-off will be outside the Whaler blue line below us on the Jacks' right side. Alfie Turcotte for the Jacks, and for Binghamton on the face-off, Mike Richard. All ready to go. Sticks come down, won by the Whalers. Sean Cronin at his own line, wheels across on right wing at center, backhanding behind the goal. Gunn drove it along the left wing boards himself for Alfie Turcotte. Now Turcotte across on the right defense for Gagne at his own line. Back for Turcotte on the left wing at center, crossing the Binghampton line along the left wing boards. He skirted the check of Sherla, but was checked in the circle by Shaw. His pass knocked down top of the left circle by Armstrong. Armstrong trying to power his way in front. He drove it in behind the goal for Turcotte. Turcotte steps in front, shooting. Gaskalakis the save. The rebound is right in front. Turcotte was checked by a Pratt falling defenseman. Shaw controlled in front of the goal by Binghamton's by Tom Martin to center at the Baltimore line. Martin fired, Gunn the save, and he sprawls on the rebound with Shaw and Sherla on the doorstep. Now Shane Sherla forearms Alfie Turcotte. That's a classic mismatch. One of the Jacks players has lost his helmet. Ian Armstrong, as he and Martin were tangling. They're pairing off Wayne Gagne and Mike Richard, who are more of the finesse-minded, seem to be, comparatively speaking, dancing. The penalty box door for the Whalers swings open, likewise the Skipjacks. The time of the penalties to Shane Sherla of Binghamton, and I believe the Skipjacks, Ian Armstrong, will be 12:04. They'll be twin minors, and Murray Bannerman will return in goal to replace Royden Gunn, who replaced him at the start of the period after Bannerman experienced some skate trouble during the intermission. A break in the action, 7:56 left, middle period. Still Binghamton 2, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Binghamton penalty to number 26, Shane Sherla, and the Skipjacks number 6, Ian Armstrong. 2 minutes each for roughing. Time of the penalties, 12:04. Binghamton penalty to number 26, Shane Sherla, and the Skipjacks number 6, Ian Armstrong. 2 minutes each for roughing. Time of the penalties, 12:04.
Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Here are the penalties for Binghamton. Shane Sherla, for the Jacks, Ian Armstrong, 2 minutes apiece for roughing at 12:04. Tim Hoover, apparently the preliminary report on Skipjack defenseman Tim Hoover, as he has sustained a minor strain to his knee. It is being iced down, and he may or may not return for tonight's game for third period action. So Tim Hoover with a minor strain to his, it looked like it was his left knee, and he may not be back anymore tonight. From the face-off outside the Jacks line, Binghamton will control. Baudouin left wing at center, wrapping it in behind the goal. Bannerman sets it up for Tebbett. Tebbett with a pirouette to deliver it along the right wing boards for Richer. Up the boards at his own line for Peer, in the middle at center for Sampson. He just guides it in behind the goal. Daskalakis leads for Baudouin. Now Yves Baudouin, shadowed by No, clears to the line. Richer contains right point. The screen shot did make it through to No at the doorstep. Blocked by Baudouin, who sends Jensen away at center. David Jensen floats it in behind the goal. Digging it out behind the goal is Richer with Britt Peer and Jim Thompson really muscling each other in a rather rambunctious mood deep in the Skipjack right wing corner. And Thompson, who is wearing a protective device from a broken jaw. He led the league in penalty minutes last season with 360, and Britt Peer, and I believe both of them will be banished. The time 12:45, the second set of twin minors in the span of 41 seconds. Well, let's see. The Jacks penalty box door swings open, and so does the Whalers. Peer's second penalty in a row in this period. 12:45 the time, and again, neither team penalized skaters, as they are coincidental minors. Want to remind you again that the Jacks are home here on Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday night. That'll be their next action. They'll oppose Newmarket. It's Skipjack's team poster night. 5,000 beautiful full-color Jacks team posters will be given away, compliments of ad crafters. It's reverse jersey night. The Jacks will don their road blacks in that one. The Jacks and the Saints here, Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve, 7:30. From the faceoff, McQuarrie deep in the left corner. Back to the left point for Culhane. That one wiggled off his stick to center, and Terry Perkins controlled. Perkins romps in over the Binghamton line into the right wing corner. His centering pass was blocked by Shaw. Now Shaw to the left side of the goal. Spins past the check of Perkins. Now Shaw at his own line. Bradshaw through center. Knocked away neatly by Perkins. Back into the Baltimore zone for Richer. Across on the left defense for Tebbett. Up the boards at his own line for Harlow. Scott Harlow in the middle at center for Richer, who dashes in over the Binghamton line. Pulls up at the top of the left circle. In the circle for Perkins. Muscle by McQuarrie, who's bowled over behind the goal by Perkins. Covering on the Binghamton right boards is Bradshaw. Now Shaw at his own line, steers to center. Stefan Richer controls. He was cracked down rather lustily by Greenlaw. The puck is at center zone. Controlled by Binghamton's Tom Martin, and once Martin directs it into Baltimore territory, he trapped his line mate, Scott McQuarrie, late leaving the zone, and the Whalers are offside. 6:19 left, second period. The lone goal in this period, the product of a Binghamton short-handed arrangement. David Jensen on the breakaway at 58 seconds from Richard and Shaw. The sole goal in this period. Binghamton in the second period this season has outscored its opponents 40-18. In the first period, they've outscored their opponents 35-15. They have just been awesome this year. They've won 6 in a row and 10 of their last 11. From the faceoff, Jensen almost stole it from in front of the Jacks goal. Controlled at the left circle, though, by Martin. Martin turns and shoots, and he fired it wide. Rebound of the Baltimore left wing boards, and Alfie Turcotte clears the zone. Martin back at his own line, controls. Center circle for Richard, whipping it in behind the Jacks goal. DeFazio will control. Dean DeFazio back on the defense due to the injury to Hoover. DeFazio leads on left wing in the circle for Toomey. Up the boards at center for Shedden behind the defense. Shedden charges after it behind the goal. And once Doug Shedden reaches it, as he is stapled to the boards by the check of the Whalers player, the Jacks are called on the two-line offside pass. It was Sean Cronin who rubbed out Shedden at the backboards after Shedden had reached it ahead of Cronin, but it didn't matter. The Jacks are called on the two-line pass. In the meantime, the Twin Miners to Armstrong and Sherla expire with 5:42 left in the second period, and it's 2-1 Binghamton, though the Jacks have limited the Whalers to only 3 shots on goal in this period. The Jacks have 9. Faceoff will be barely inside the Jacks blue line, the origination of that ill-fated clearing pass. Alfie Turcotte for the Jacks, and Scott McQuarrie with 150 points last season with Oshawa in the OHL Junior A. He was their scoring champion. 51 goals, 99 assists. He was a 12th round draft of Washington in 1986. Now Alfie Turcotte hurries up the left side at center. The Binghamton line. He was squeezed along the boards by McQuarrie. No further progress there. Then Shedden was thumped at the backboards into the corner by the Binghamton player Roger Kortko behind the play, deep in the way of the right wing corner, and we have another Binghamton penalty coming up. Roger Kortko will get the gate for high sticking, as he was overzealous in checking his man, Doug Shedden. He waltzed Shedden into the corner boards behind the play with a rather rude high stick at 14:30. Roger Kortko, the former New York Islander and Springfield Indian. 2 minutes for high sticking at 14:30. Yet another power play for the Jacks tonight. That is their 7th power play of the night. Coming up, they are 1 for 6. Jacks were 4 for 5 last night, 7 for 12 in their last 2 games, and 13 power play goals in their last 5 games entering tonight. Their only goal tonight, the product of the power play. Face-off rim of the circle right of Daskalakis. Turcotte controlled to the right point for Gagne, the shot, and that was just wide. The rebound up on right wing for a falling Dave Jensen. Ahead at center with the Baltimore line for Richard. He was checked in front by Gagne, who spilled him, and back come the Jacks. Alfie Turcotte to center. He motors in over the Binghamton line. He swoops in behind the goal. Turcotte still has it in the right wing corner. Delivering it to the right point for Gagne. It jumped over his stick, and then Gagne really sent Mike Richard cartwheeling at the Binghamton blue line, with Richard set to veer past him after Gagne failed to hold it in. And Gagne will be chased for interference, and that will short-circuit the Jacks power play after only 31 seconds. Boy, Wayne Gagne with a rock-ribbed hip check. He really sent Mike Richard, the diminutive but dazzling centerman, cartwheeling, but he may have prevented another breakaway shorthanded effort by the Whalers as that puck just danced off the stick of Gagne on the right point. Wayne Gagne, 2 minutes for interference at 15:01. So both teams are a man short with 4:59 left middle period, and Binghamton continuing to nurse this fragile 2-1 lead. The faceoff will be arc of the circle, right of Bannerman in the Jacks goal. Gary Sampson and Scott McQuarrie will be the principals. All ready to go. Sticks come down. Won by Sampson. Covering behind the goal is Armstrong. Shadowed in front by McQuarrie. Now Ian Armstrong. Wheels to the right wing boards for Richer. Richer ahead in the middle at center for Gary Sampson over the Binghamton line. Along the left wing boards for DeFazio. DeFazio leaves it there for Armstrong. Armstrong into the corner for Sampson. Try to center one back in front for Armstrong. It didn't make it through. Seized by Culhane, who wraps to center of the Baltimore line. Culhane dropped it right in front for Corriveau. Skated off by Richer. And the Jacks will come back. Ian Armstrong at his own line through center circle. At the Binghamton line on right wing for Richer, off his extended stick in behind the goal for Culhane. Now Jim Culhane circles in front of the goal. He was checked by Sampson, stolen in the right circle by Richer, right in front for DeFazio. He shoots, he scores! Dean DeFazio, and the Jacks have tied it 2-2. Gary Sampson made it happen. He upended the Binghamton defenseman in the right circle, and Stefan Richer was right there on the scene. He seized the puck and centered one, and Dean DeFazio at the left hash mark was all by himself, and he rifles his first goal of the season. He and Doug Shedden, the only two Skipjacks to play in all 21 games this season. DeFazio from Richer, though Sampson does not receive an assist, he was the one that made it happen. Now from the faceoff, that goal of both teams a man short. It's a 2-all tie. Mike Richard at center, over the Baltimore line, pulled down by Perkins on the right side. And the Jacks, true to form, continue to follow the same script. If they don't allow a goal immediately after they score one, they take a penalty. Terry Perkins is the latest to fall prey to that activity as he slams the penalty box door entering. The Jacks, it's just uncanny how they just continue to follow the same script. If they don't allow a goal immediately after they score one, they take a foolish penalty. Perkins 2 minutes for hooking at 16-16. And Binghamton now has an opportunity to restore its 1-goal lead immediately. The Whalers are 14 seconds away from a 2-man advantage for 31 seconds. Courtco's penalty will expire in 14 seconds. The Jacks, in the meantime, have Wayne Gagne still serving 45 seconds of his interference penalty, and now Perkins is chased for hooking at 16-16. 3:44 left, late second period, and the Jacks have recently tied it on DeFazio's first from Richer at 15:51. From the faceoff, Turcotte won it, and he drove it to center. Controlled by Shaw, across the left wing for Richard, who reaches the Baltimore line, pulling up. Now Richard at the left point, loads the gun, side of the goal for McQuarrie. McQuarrie, top of the circle for Richard. Across to the right circle for Shaw. Courtco is on a 2-man advantage. Shaw, center point for Courtco. In the circle for Shaw, who moves right in on goal with a shot. Bannerman the save. Rebound behind the goal for Courtco. He centered it. Center point for Richard. Left point for Shaw with a shot, and Turcotte deflects it over the glass into the crowd. Right below us inside the Baltimore blue line. No further. Binghamton 2-man advantage in the Gagne penalty. 1:27 remaining overall for a Whaler power play that has produced remarkably 29 times in 97 opportunities for a proficiency rating of nearly 34%, and that is being very effective. This is our first pivotal point in this one. The Jacks recently tying it at 15:51 but 25 seconds later, Perkins was banished for hooking. Face-off, rim of the circle, right of Bannerman, Jack's goal. Turcotte and Jensen. Turcotte controlled on the right boards for Richer. He was jerked down by Martin. And Tom Martin will be chased with his 5th minor penalty of the night at 16:53. Boy, there was no question about that one. He really sent Richer sprawling along the right wing boards at the hash mark. And Binghampton will still have a one-man advantage, but for only 8 seconds. And most importantly, the face-off moves outside the Jacks line. And they'll embrace the slight territorial edge in the waning seconds of the Gagne penalty. Once his penalty expires, both teams will skate a man short for a minute 15. And then once the Perkins penalty expires, barring any unforeseen circumstances, the Jacks will have a partial power play for 37 seconds. Now here's Shaw with the Baltimore line with a shot. Bannerman the save. Rebound. Control behind the goal by Turcotte. Gagne is on, and Alfie Turcotte just rockets it down ice. Control by Binghampton. Deep in the right corner, Shaw icing charge against the Skipjacks. 2:49 left for second period action. Both teams skating a man short in this 2-2 duel. We want to remind you again that Washington Capitals Vice President and General Manager David Poyle will be our special guest live in our second intermission tonight, so please stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we have a critical face-off confronting the Jacks. Circle left of Bannerman in their zone. It'll be Gary Sampson, the former Binghamton Whaler and Washington Capital, in the face-off opposing Roger Kortko. Both teams a man short, 2:49 left, second period. It's a 2-2 tie, and this has been a dandy tonight. Great to have you with us on the Skipjacks Hockey Network as the Jacks look for again tonight for a major breakthrough. Sampson and Kortko. Won by Sampson convincingly. Collected behind the goal by the Skipjacks. Ed Armstrong leaving for Sampson, and he'll start out. Gary Sampson at his own line. Motoring to center at the Binghamton line. Knocked away by Colhane, but trailing Gagne. He springs into the Binghamton line. Gagne is right in on goal with a shot. Daskalakis the save. Gagne with the rebound. Centered one in front for Toomey from behind the goal. Knocked away by Bourgeois. Yves Bourgeois to center. Over the Baltimore line on the left wing for Colhane. Leaving it on the left point for Thompson with a high drive over top of the net. The rebound caroms back to the right point for Bourgeois. He drove it in behind the goal as the referee Loras fell. Covering is Gagne. Ahead for Armstrong at his own line. Armstrong to center for Sampson over the Binghamton line. Through the right circle behind Shaw, who reached back and spun him around at the last instant. And back comes Binghamton. Bourgeois across on right wing at center for Jensen over the Baltimore line. It's Kortko into the right circle for Thompson. Checked by Toomey. Sean Toomey from behind the Jacks goal. 3 seconds away from a partial power play for Baltimore. Toomey leaves right side of the goal for Armstrong. Perkins is on. Jacks have the man advantage. Armstrong leads on left wing in his own line for Perkins. That was knocked right back in behind the goal by Vachorik, pinching in. Covering up for the Jacks is Stefan Richer. Now Richer across on left wing in his own line for Toomey. Up the boards at center for Perkins. Motoring in over the Binghamton line. He slams on the brakes in the corner right in front for Toomey. It was blocked by Shaw. Now Brad Shaw up the middle at center for Richard. Zooming in over the Baltimore line. Working on Thibodeau. Wrapped him up. Controlled though at the right point by the trailer Vachorik. He sends it into the corner for Richard. Now Richard, checked by Thibodeau, intimidates him. Perkins wraps it off the boards to center as the penalty boxes are now empty. Under a minute left in the period. Deep in the Jacks left corner, Tebbett will control. Now Greg Tebbett at his own line. He just flutters it into Binghamton territory. Glove down in front by Colhane in front of Perkins, and he just slammed it to center zone. Control by Perkins for Shedden. He steps it over the Binghamton line. Doug Shedden along the right wing boards, pulls up, leaves it right point for Gagne. He was checked neatly by Greenlaw. Now Jeff Greenlaw leaves it on the line for Vachorik. Ahead at center for Jensen, who steps it over the Baltimore line with a centering pass for Greenlaw in front. Knocked down by Gagne, who sends Shedden romping to center at the Binghamton line. Shedden fired. Daskalakis the save. He couldn't find the rebound, but Bourgeois did. Bourgeois up on right wing in his own line for Sherla, clearing the zone. Greg Tebbett just launches a rainbow back into the Binghamton right quarter. Covering up there is Colhane, 10 seconds for the period. Colhane in the middle at center for Jensen, skated off by the intimidating presence of Tebbett. And Dean DeFazio will just retreat with it behind the goal as the horn will sound. signifying the conclusion of the second period here at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore. The two teams trading goals. Binghamton striking early on the shorthanded. Strength from the faceoff. Bradshaw wheels center circle, steering into the skipjack left wing corner where it's tracked down by Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne wrapped up by Sherla. Sherla pins him to the boards, dug out by Kortko as Gagne fall. Kortko bolts in front and fires. Oh, what a save by Bannerman. Action halted. I believe we have an interference penalty coming up. And I believe it's to the Skipjacks. Tim Hoover, who is back for the third period, and he returns to and will take a penalty. Tim Hoover at 21 seconds will be chased for interference, and that's not exactly what the Jacks had in mind entering this third period in this 2-2 tie. The third period has been the Jacks' absolute demise here at home. They've been outscored 16 goals to 5 in the third period here at home against the opposition. Hoover, 2 minutes for interference at 21 seconds. Boy, moments ago, Murray Bannerman robbed Roger Kortko, who corralled it behind the Jacks goal and stepped right in front, and Bannerman robbed him at point-blank range with a remarkable save. All ready to go. Turcotte in the faceoff with McQuarrie. Jacks have been much better on the faceoffs tonight. Turcotte won that, but Shaw from center point will control it. Now Bradshaw along the right wing boards for Scott McQuarrie. He pulls up. Now McQuarrie, center point for Shaw. Shaw shoots, deflected in behind the goal by Armstrong. Dug out there by Martin. Now Tom Martin comes off the corner board, shooting right through the crease. It caroms off the corner boards to center. Sampson lunges for it, center zone on the right wing boards, and he has it at the Binghamton line. Now Sampson, right wing circle for Turcotte. Muscled off the puck by Richard, and covering behind the goal is Shaw with 1:21 for the power play. Shaw up the right board at his own line for Shane Sherla. Sherla from center, rockets it around the Jacks, backboard to the left side for Martin. Skated off by Armstrong, contained the left point by Richard for Martin along the boards. Martin from the circle, shoots, Bannerman the pad save, the rebound comes back into the circle, and Turcotte is there, and he sweeps it with the big broom down ice. Beaudoin his own line for Binghamton in the middle at center for Martin, who hits the Baltimore line. Right circle from McQuarrie with a shot. Bannerman the save. A tantalizing rebound to the right circle. Beaudoin centered one in front for Corriveau, and he was jolted by Armstrong. And from the right wing boards, Terry Perkins fires down ice. 37 seconds for the power play. Now Jim Culhane behind the goal. Stalked and hawked by the Jack Sean Toomey. Culhane is away on left wing at center for Jensen. Leaving it there for Kortko. Kortko over the Baltimore line. Left circle for Corriveau, who fired it through the crease, and Jensen failed to convert. We have another Jacks penalty coming up as Wayne Gagne upended the Binghamton player at the doorstep on the centering pass through the crease. And now suddenly it's the Jacks' turn to be on the receiving end of a rash of penalties. And this penalty to Gagne at 2:02 will give Binghamton a two-man advantage for 19 seconds. That's the balance of the Tim Hoover penalty. So the Jacks immediately lose their momentum at the start of the period due to being shorthanded. And they may be in the process of losing this tie that they've worked so valiantly to achieve. Gagne, 2 minutes for tripping at the Baltimore goal crease at 2:02. Boy, that was a rising rooster-tailing snow shower at the crease. A bang-bang play at the Jacks' doorstep. Faceoff will be arc of the circle left of Bannerman, Jacks' goal. Alfie Turcotte, the lone forward, the Jacks 2-man short, and he'll be in the faceoff with Roger Kortko. Won by Kortko to the right point for Shaw. Left point for Beaudoin, the shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound all the way back to the right point for Shaw. Shaw along the boards for Kortko, pouring into the circle, side of the goal. Now right circle for Corriveau with a shot. Bannerman the save. The rebound in front. Bannerman sprawls on it. No further play. A slow whistle from the referee, Loras, and that incurs the wrath of Bannerman. Boy, Murray Bannerman was visibly disturbed with the slow whistle from the referee, Darren Loras. In the meantime, the first penalty to Hoover has elapsed. Still a minute 40 remaining in the Gagne penalty and Binghamton's second straight power play of the period. It's a 2-2 tie, and the face-off forthcoming circle left of Bannerman in the Jacks goal. I'll tell you, this is no way to start a period being shorthanded back-to-back like this, because you lose all the momentum that you hope to develop during the intermission, and especially after the Jacks had gained the equalizer late in the period. This really stems the rising tide in a hurry. From the faceoff, at the right point, Shaw loads the gun, shoots. Bannerman kicked it all the way back to the left point where Bourgeois holds it in. Now Bourgeois behind the goal for Corriveau, halted by Armstrong, who steers it along the right wing boards for Sampson. Sampson checked by Bourgeois, pinching into the corner. Bourgeois falls, controlled on the right boards by Sampson again, though. Now Sampson had it poked off his stick back into the corner by Courtco, but Armstrong is there. Around the right boards for Sampson. The referee's in the way. It's stolen by Courtco. Courtco in the left circle. He holds. Roger Courtco to the left point for Bourgeois. Right point for Shaw. Shaw shoots. Bannerman the save through a screen. Rebound behind the goal. Controlled by Turcotte, clearing the line. Bourgeois contains. Across to the right point for Shaw. Now Shaw into the corner for Courtco, who waffled the centering pass in front. It was weak. And Sampson is there, and he sweeps it down ice. The Jacks make a hurry change, 39 seconds for the power play. Yves Bourgeois left wing at center, drove it into the Baltimore zone, and Tim Hoover is on the scene on the left wing boards to fire it down ice, still favoring the left knee. Covering behind the goal for Binghamton, Shaw, 25 seconds for the power play. Now Bradshaw at his own line, lugs it to center. At the Jacks line on left wing for Richard, it jumped over his stick. Loose at the Baltimore line. Covering on the right boards is Richer. Richer redirects it out of harm's way behind the goal for Hoover. Hoover loses control in the corner to McQuarrie. McQuarrie centered it back to the left point for Bourgeois. Right point for Culhane with a shot. Bannerman the save, the penalty over to Gagne. Puck in behind the goal. Richard digs it out. Side of the goal for Martin. Centering pass knocked back behind the goal by Richer, who toppled Martin. Richer jabs it along the right wing boards for Wayne Gagne, who sweeps it into Binghamton territory, and the Jacks penalty killers were superlative. At the Binghamton line, Shaw up the left boards at center for Richard. Mike Richard backhands behind the Jacks goal, rounding the net with it is Armstrong. Ian Armstrong on right wing at center for Britt Peer, off his stick all the way behind the Binghamton goal. Bourgeois will control that. Poking it into the corner for Thompson. Jammed by No. Converged down by Armstrong. Barging in from the point. He poked it in behind the goal. But covering up is Bourgeois. Now Yves Bourgeois leaves in the right corner for Vachorek. Around the backboards on left wing for Greenlaw. Checked by Peer, who stepped in. Now Peer, side of the goal for No. Leaving it there for Harlow. He was upended by Courtco, and Binghamton's away. Mark Vachorek at his own line. Steaming to center on left wing. Drove it around the Baltimore backboards into the right corner. It's contained at the right point by Vachorek. He sailed it in behind the goal. Digging it out there for Binghamton is Courtco. He tried to center one in front, and Tebbett was there. Tebbett along the left wing boards at his own line for Scott Harlow, backhanding to the Binghamton zone, where Culhane controls his pass. Halted center circle by Armstrong, who drove it back into Binghamton territory. Controlled at the line by Vachorek on the right side. Mark Vachorek in the middle at center for Thompson, who sends it in on goal. Bannerman himself headmans it on right wing at his own line for Shedden. In the middle at center for Toomey. He was jolted by McQuarrie, who'll hurry back forward inside his own line. Now Scott McQuarrie ahead at center for David Jensen. Jensen zooming in over the Baltimore line, right circle, working on Tebbett, who poked it off his stick. The trailer, though, is McQuarrie. Right in front for Culhane with a shot, and he slid it wide. Rebound in the left corner for McQuarrie again. Left point for Jensen with a shot. Bannerman the save, the rebound behind the goal. And Greg Tebbett hoists it over the head of Jim Culhane over the glass into the crowd at the left point. Baltimore blue line, no further play. 13:59 remaining for third period action, and the Jacks penalty killers have been splendid. Binghamton has all 7 of the shots on goal in this period. It's a 2-2 tie. The face-off will be forthcoming outside the Jacks blue line. Let's update the league scoreboard for you. After one period in New Haven, Nighthawks blanking Maine 2-0. After one period in Rochester, Newmarket has taken a 1-0 lead over the Amherst. And in overtime, is that a final? We have 5-5 at overtime. Utica at Nova Scotia. We'll try to check and find out if that's a final. We want to alert our stations down the line. We will be getting a station ID in at the next opportunity. From the faceoff, Tim Hoover scrapes it off the Jacks' backboards, losing his helmet as he overpowered Corriveau. Now Hoover deep in the right corner, wrapped up by Martin, who slammed him into the boards. They continue to jostle forward vigorously, digging it out in the corners. Corriveau. Hoover has lost his helmet and his stick. He's going into a striptease act. The puck is still loose along the left wing boards, and Harlow will break out for the Jacks. Scott Harlow to center at the Binghampton line with a breakaway pass for Perkins behind the defense, knocked away by Cronin at center for Richard over the Baltimore line, left circle for Corriveau, right in front for Richard with a shot, an electrifying skate save by Bannerman. Rebound of the Baltimore right boards for Terry Perkins. Perkins up the boards at center for Byron Lomo, dashing in over the Binghampton line with a shot. Daskalakis to save, rebound left point. Kevin fired. Daskalakis to save, the rebound in front, and Perkins fired over top of the net. The rebound back to the left point for Gagne with a shot. Daskalakis, a great save with Perkins, Lomo, and Harlow converging at the crease, and back comes Binghampton. Richard at center over the Baltimore line and left wing for Martin, leaving top of the circle for Jensen with a shot, and he fired it wide. The rebound along the left wing boards. Now Fachorik pinches in from the point. Drove it into Baltimore's right corner. Tevitt is on the scene to clear the line. Shaw contains left point with a shot, and he rang it off the post with Jensen bowling over Bannerman at the crease. The rebound in front is fired down ice by Harlow. Reached behind the Binghampton goal by Shaw. Icing charge against the Skipjacks. A break in the action. 12:30 remaining. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. 12:30 remaining, and moments ago, the Jacks were all around the Binghampton goal. Terry Perkins with a tantalizing rebound in front, and he rocketed a rising shot over top of the net. As Harlow, Lomo, and Perkins blanked tonight after their phenomenal 6 goals and 15-point performance in the set back at Hershey last night, were on the threshold of breaking this tie. Jacks have been outscored in the third period at home 16-5. It has been their undoing all season. And Murray Bannerman has been spectacular here in this third period in the Baltimore goal. It'll be Gary Sampson opposing Roger Kortko on the faceoff. All ready to go. Waiting for the linesmen. They present arms. Won by Sampson. On the dot in the circle. Captured by Richer, clearing to center. Bradshaw will control on left wing. Across on right wing of the Baltimore line for Charlotte. Tevitt was in the way. Captured behind the goal by DeFazio, rounding the net. Dean DeFazio on right wing in his own line for Peer, and Britt Peer just clears the zone. Shaw on left wing from center, drove it back into the Jack zone, and Tevitt deep in the left corner, floats it to center circle. Shaw's on the scene there, returning it behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman scoops up the Karam at the corner boards, and he'll hold with the Binghampton player, Shane Sherla, crossing the crease in a very menacing fashion. We have a break of the action. 12 minutes left. Jacks 2, Binghampton 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Back to the play. Jeff Greenlaw on the left wing boards behind the goal for Macquarie. Centering it. And Armstrong was in front to control. Ian Armstrong sails it down ice. Racing to reach it behind the goal. Culhane as he barely outdistances Doug Shedden, who is pinned in the boards by Jim Culhane on the whistle. The icing against the Jacks with 11:42 left. In the scoreless third period, it's a 2-2 tie. Dean DeFazio snapping his first goal of the season late in that second period at 15:51 to create this standoff at the moment. The Jacks stalemating it at that juncture. Face-off circle left of Murray Bannerman in the Skipjack goal. Binghampton has won 6 in a row. They have won 10 of their last 11 and 12 of their last 14. They are 13-4-2 this season. The Jacks have only beaten Binghampton 5 times in the last 20 meetings. All ready to go for the face-off. From the face-off, Thompson fired. Bannerman the save. Rebound to the Jacks line on right wing for Toomey. He sends Alfie Turcotte chasing after it deep in Binghamton's right wing corner. Jostled at the backboards by Thompson. Shedden runs into Beaudoin. We have a Binghamton penalty coming up as Thompson pulled down Turcotte behind the goal. And the Binghamton right wing will be chased for holding at 8:35, and the Skipjacks will be presented their 10th power play of the night. They are 1 for 9 against the circuit's foremost in penalty killing artistry. Jacks 1 for 9 on the power play tonight. Jim Thompson 2 minutes for holding at 8:35. The face-off will be circled out of Cleon Daskalakis in the Binghamton goal. Want to remind you again, the Jacks are home here for their next action Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve. They'll host Newmarket 7:30 here at the Baltimore Arena. Reverse jersey night, the Jacks will don the road blacks. And 5,000 beautiful full-color Skipjacks team posters will be given away, compliments of ad crafters. Perkins and Richard on the face-off left of Daskalakis, Binghamton goal. All ready to go. They draw swords. Perkins won it to the right point for Gagne, loading the gun, shooting, hit the post. The rebound is in the crease, and Daskalakis kneels on it. With Harlow, Lomo, and Perkins all surrounding the Binghamton kneeling goaltender inside the crease. Wayne Gagne from the right point, and he uncorked a cannonading drive, and he rattled it off the goalpost. And as the Jacks' luck would have it, it just squirted underneath the pads of Daskalakis on the carom. An encore left of Daskalakis. This Jacks crowd is aroused and alive. All ready to go. Won by Richard. Behind the goal, control by Richard on the left boards, clearing to the line. Gagne contains. Wayne Gagne along the right wing boards for Harlow, leaving it there for Perkins. Checked by Vachorik. Richard clears to the line, knocked down by Perkins. Across to the left point for Tebbett. Now Tebbett across to the right circle for Perkins to the right point for a sprawling Gagne. He couldn't reach it, and it's 2-on-1. Binghamton. Martin to center of the Baltimore line. Tom Martin from the circle, fired. Bannerman the save. Rebound control by Perkins. His pass halted at the line along the right wing boards by Richard, but covering Lomo, who dropped back in the corner. 1:17 for the power play. Lomo in front of the goal, ahead at his own line for Scott Harlow. Evading the check of Jensen. Harlow to center, hits the Binghamton line along the left wing boards. Harlow right in front for Perkins. He shoots. Great save, Daskalakis, and Lomo overskated the rebound in front. And David Jensen will clear it out ice. 1 minute for the power play. Bannerman himself headmans it up on right wing at his own line for Lomo. In the middle at center for Terry Perkins, who reaches the Binghamton line on the right wing boards. Perkins pulls up, and he topples on top of the puck. No further play. 10:13 left. 48 seconds for the Jacks power play. It's 2-2, and the Jacks have had some absolutely glorious scoring opportunities here in the recent moments. Wayne Gagne's point shot clanged the goalpost, and then Terry Perkins just strolled right in on top of Daskalakis, who denied the Perkins thrust. Perkins has 8 power play goals, second most in the league, and his 12 power play goals, foremost on the club for the league's 8th leading scorer. But he'd love it if Terry Perkins' 12 goals have been registered on the road. All ready to go over the face-off. It'll be Jean-Francois No for the Jacks, opposing Roger Kortko. All ready to go. Waiting for the linesman. Sticks come down. Won by No. Taken on the right point by Shedden. Sailing it in behind the goal. Digging it after it is Turcotte. Left corner. He leaves it there for No. No back behind the goal for Sampson. Sampson right point for Shedden with a shot. Daskalakis the save. The rebound, and Daskalakis lying on his back smothers it. No further play, with Jensen escorting Turcotte from the danger district. Sampson pairing off with Kortko. 32 seconds for the power play. It has been formidable, but has failed to break through with the tie-breaking goal. 9:57 for regulation. Face-off circle left of Cleon Daskalakis in the Binghamton goal. No. Shedden, Turcotte across in front. On the forward line, Richer and Gagne on the points. This has been another stirring, inspiring performance by this improving Skipjack team tonight against the Southern Division leaders, who have been on a rampage. all ready to go. No and Richard. One by No. Center point. Gagne right in front for Turcotte. He shoots, he scores! LB Turcotte, Jacks lead 3-2. Jean-Francois No won his second consecutive face-off, circle right of Daskalakis, and he drew it back to center point where Wayne Gagne threaded a needle through a chorus line of legs to the doorstep with an impeccable pass to Alfie Turcotte, who spun and then raked it upstairs with a rooftop rocket at 10-10. Turcotte's 8th, his 5th power play goal this season. The Jacks with another power play goal tonight. Turcotte from Gagne and No at 10-10. It's 3-2 Skipjacks, their second lead of the night, and both of them produced on their very proficient power play, which has now engineered 15 goals in 6 games. Now Shaw motors in over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards, forced wide to the corner boards by the waltzing check of Hoover. Tim Hoover steals, sends it into the right corner, cross ice for Armstrong. Armstrong entangled by Shaw, bodied by Greenlaw. Sampson is there as well to secure it. Greenlaw and Armstrong now wrestle with each other after the whistle. And the linesmen are on the scene. And we have a real gathering there deep in the Baltimore right corner. 9:11 remaining for regulation time. And the Jacks with a major breakthrough on Alfie Turcotte's 8th, stretching his latest scoring streak to 8 games. Turcotte now is registered for the league's 7th leading scorer. Turcotte from Shedden and Gagne. Apparently Shedden may have touched the puck in the circle after No won the draw. Turcotte from Shedden and Gagne, and Doug Shedden increases his personal scoring streak to 7 games with 9 points in that span on 4 goals and 5 assists. Most importantly, the Jacks have triggered another power play goal. They now have 9 this week, and the Jacks now have on the power play 15 goals in their last 6 games. Armstrong and Greenlaw both received twin minus for roughing at 10:49 after that post-whistle turbulence that occurred deep in the Jacks' right corner. Now the Jacks, who have shown a lack, shown a lack of ability to play with the lead this season, and they'll be tested again. The Jacks have had a tremendous inability to not play well with the lead this season. Sampson and Richard on the face-off circle right of Bannerman, Baltimore goal. Won by Sampson convincingly. Boy, he has been indomitable on the face-offs tonight after a terrible night last night. Sampson leaves behind the goal for Richer, dishing to the left corner for Greg Tebbett, floating it up the left boards at center for DeFazio, checked by Bourgeois. It skids into the Binghampton right corner. Daskalakis swept it away for the onrushing Britt Peer. Although on the board, stolen by Sampson, who steps in front and fired, and it hopped right through the crease. Controlled in front of the Binghampton goal by Bourgeois. Yves Bourgeois to center at the Baltimore line, shooting, and that was wide, but Tom Martin is offside on the left side for the Southern Division leaders. No further play, a break of the action, 8:40 left, Jacks 3, Binghampton 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. I don't know. I'm sure she did. Oh yeah, I've got a stack of them on my desk. I think so. I didn't look at them. They handed them to me the other day in the office. There's a stack of them on my desk. Yeah. Now from the faceoff at center zone, Terry Perkins trying to break it over the Binghampton line, but Brad Shaw was there to meet him head on the defense, and he'll control it away from him. Along the left wing boards for Culhane. Culhane at his own line, his pass halted at center by Hoover, forcing the issue center circle, but Sherla on the right side will return it in behind the Baltimore goal, where Sherla waltzes. Gagne into the backboard, just dug out by Jensen. Jensen to the left point for Culhane with a shot, a smothering block by Lomo, but it comes back to Culhane. Colleen's pass in the corner, knocked away by Gagne, and Wayne Gagne propels it to center, where Bradshaw on right wing wrapped it in off the referee right in front of the Jacks goal, but Lomo is there to cover. Now Lomo across to the left wing for Hoover. Tim Hoover to center zone. Skated off by Sherla, who overpowered him, but trailing is Harlow, and he fired it in behind the Binghamton goal. Daskalakis out of the goal, hides it away in the nick of time from the onrushing Byron Lomo. Leaving it behind the goal for Culhane. His pass stolen left circle by Turcotte, who was spun around in front by Sherla. Puck in behind the goal. Covering up is Culhane again, 7:29 left. Jim Culhane in front of the Binghamton goal is underway, lugging it to center. Culhane reaching the Baltimore line. He's trying to slip one in front for Sherla. It skids to the goaltender Bannerman, who drove it along the right wing boards. Contained by Corriveau right in front for Thompson, and it jumped off his stick. The pass handcuffed him. Controlled in the Jacks left corner by a sprawling Greg Tebbett. Now Tebbett in the middle at center for Richer at the Binghamton line on right wing for Shedden, who pulls up on the boards. He leaves it on the line for Richer. He couldn't reach that, but Chorick clears to center. Stefan Richer astride outside the Binghamton line, drove it back behind the goal. The Jacks are changing under 7 minutes left. Jacks lead 3-2 at the Binghamton line. Bourgeois cross on the right defense for Vachorik. Mark Vachorik from center. Drifts it into the Baltimore right corner, covering the Karen Bannerman. Stolen by McQuarrie, who centered one in front, and Sampson was there. He's been great tonight. Sampson at center for Shedden. Now Doug Shedden over the Binghamton line. On the right side for Sampson, and it's offside as Sean Toomey was in the way to create the offside. No further play. A break in the action. 6:32 left. It's still the Jacks 3 and Binghamton 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network.
Where's David Poyle sitting tonight? Is Poyle up? Is David up in the press box tonight, David Poyle? Huh? Is he? Oh, yeah. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. We have 6:32 remaining for regulation time. Alfie Turcotte's tie-breaking power play goal at 10:10 of this period. The lone goal from either club. On the Jacks' second power play goal of the night, their 32nd of the season, to snap the 2-2 tie that was created on a Dean DeFazio goal with only 4:09 remaining late in the second period. DeFazio's first, and the Jacks lead it 3-2, and they're trying to preserve this lead. I believe this is the latest. Well, no, it's not. The latest the Jacks ever held the lead at home was back opening weekend of the season in home game number 2, when they led Springfield 3-2 with 5:04 left, when Mike Walsh connected to tie it. And then the Jacks fell off a cliff there and trembled 5-3. So we're not quite at the point where the Jacks, this is not the latest lead the Jacks have had in a game yet this season. We're about a minute and a half away from that yet. Now from the faceoff, Shaw at his own line across on the left side for Sean Cronin. Cronin from center, drove it around the Baltimore backboard, that escapes Bannerman into the left wing corner, but digging it out is DeFazio up the boards at his own line for Sampson, clearing the zone. Control by Cronin over the Baltimore line for Sherla, left circle for Martin with a shot. He hit the goalpost. The rebound is in the crease. The backhanded by Richard. They score! Mike Richard in a scramble at the crease, and Binghamton is tied it with 6:11 left, 3-3. And the Jacks dispute the goal. The net was lifted from its moorings, banging into the backboards. The Martin shot rang off the post. The rebound skidded in front, and Richard backhanded it home at 13:49. The Jacks chased the referee, Darren Loras, all the way to the scorer's bench. The captain, Doug Shedden, along with the alternate, Dean DeFazio. 2 of Binghamton's 3 goals tonight have been somewhat disputed. Skipjacks coach Gene Ubriaco has the door open, and he is just screaming at the referee, Darren Loras, at the Baltimore bench. 2 of the Binghamton goals tonight appear to have been scored with the net lifted off its moorings. And you may recount here on Friday night, on Wednesday night, when the Jacks tied Springfield, they had the apparent game-winning goal denied them when the net was off its moorings. Well, I'll tell you, the Jacks just don't get a break. They just don't get a break. I'll tell you, as I've said many times before, when the
when the team is down, they just kick them relentlessly in this business. They have credited the goal to Mark Vachorik. It was a furious scramble at the crease. The net came off its moorings, and the puck finally hopscotched into the net at 13:49. Vachorik from Richard and Martin. 3 more assists for Mike Richard. He has 11 points, a goal and 10 assists in 3 games against the Jacks, his former team this season. Oh my, there's no justice this season. Now Greg Tebbett at his own line. Up the left boards at center for Perkins. Leaving for Harlow. Scott Harlow ventures in over the Binghamton line along the left wing boards for Lomo. Lomo checked by Beaudoin, converged down by Jensen, who controls. Dave Jensen across the left wing at center for Greenlaw, snapping in and out the Baltimore left wing corner boards, covering the carom is Bannerman himself. Bannerman clear to the line. Beaudoin's point shot is right on. And Bannerman squeezes that one and raises his stick in an intimidating fashion with 2 Whalers set to surround him at the doorstep. And boy, once Bannerman brandished his stick, I'll tell you, those Whalers really relaxed at the crease. 5:43 left, 3-3 tie. Another disputed goal. 2 of Binghamton's 3 goals tonight have been somewhat disputed, both at that same end of the ice. Vachorik's first of the season from Richard and Martin at 13:49. It's a 3-3 tie, just 3:39 after the Jacks' Alfie Turcotte had lifted them into the lead with Baltimore's second power play goal of the night. Face-off left of Bannerman, Jacks goal. It'll be for the Jacks, Alfie Turcotte, for Binghamton, Scott McQuarrie on the face-off. All ready to go. Waiting for the linesman. Sticks come down. Won by McQuarrie to the right point for Vachorik, and it eludes him to center. He has to hurry back forward in front of Shedden. Across the left wing at center, Vachorik for Shaw, who sends it in behind the Jacks goal. Bannerman holds for Turcotte. Now Alfie Turcotte will start out. Left it in the left wing corner for Ian Armstrong. Across on the right defense for Gagne at his own line. Up the middle at center for Turcotte, who breezes in over the Binghamton line. But Doug Shedden is offside on right wing for the Jacks. No further play. 5:20 left. Regulation time. And we're waging a 3-3 stalemate here tonight. We want to remind you that the Jacks will be singing Christmas carols on Tuesday night, December 15th, 7:30 at the Hunt Valley Ball in Cockeysville. Our second annual event. Be there. From the faceoff, Turcotte at the Binghamton line. Knocked it in behind the goal. Daskalakis drove it around the right wing boards himself for Vachorik. His pass knocked down by Toomey, lying in wait at the top of the left circle, but he couldn't center one in front for Turcotte. Blocked by Shaw. Shaw at center for McQuarrie over the Baltimore line, swerving through the right circle, shooting, and that one was deflected in behind the goal with the Binghamton player Yvan Corriveau sent crashing into the net by Wayne Gagne, lifting the net from its moorings. Whistle sounds, and the linesman will escort John Smith, the Whaler trainer, to the scene of the injured Binghamton player Yvan Corriveau. Corriveau was sent tumbling into the net by Wayne Gagne at the 14:59 mark. 5:01 remaining for regulation time, and a Binghamton goal that was disputed with 6:11 remaining, creating this 3-3 tie. The Jacks have 8 shots in this period, Binghamton 12. But the Jacks continue to richly improve themselves with each and every game. They are playing a much more competitive brand of hockey every game out. The face-off will be forthcoming. Circle right of Murray Bannerman, or no, let's see. We're waiting for referee Darren Loras to give us a signal here. I think it should be outside the line because it was Corto crashing into the net that forced the stoppage in play. So it will be. Face-off outside the Baltimore blue line across the way from us on the Jacks right wing. No and Richard on the face-off. I'll tell you that Mike Richard has just been a venomous viper against the Jacks this season. He has just killed his former team. All ready to go. Sticks come down. Puck not dropped. No is banished. And he has a few choice remarks for the linesman. And the Skipjacks fans are growing restless. Sampson and Richard. Won by Sampson. He's been invincible tonight at Kangaroos in behind the goal. Gagne is on it. Now Wayne Gagne from behind the goal. He just sailed it off the right wing boards to center. Cronin controls, checked by Sampson, who steals. Sampson charges into the Binghamton line. He wheels in front, shooting, and Bourgeois deflects it over the glass into the crowd. No further play. 4:43 left. And the face-off will originate just above the hash marks and between the circles. They have now changed that Binghamton goal, I believe, to Shane Sherla. I was wondering why they gave it to Vachurik. He was back at the blue line. Sherla is credited with the goal. That's the crowd reaction you're hearing. They're changing the goal. Sherla from Richard. And Martin, it's 13:49. No and Richard on the faceoff. Boy, this Jacks crowd is growing rather mutinous here. They have not seen any breaks all season in this building for the home-standing Skipjacks. All ready to go for the face-off. No and Richard. One by No. Center point, Gagne has a caught in its skates, and it's poked down ice by Sherla. Now Bannerman charges all the way to the blue line, and he drove it to the Binghamton line in an adventuresome spirit. And then No steals it from Cronin. He's right in on goal, and No fired it wide. The rebound to the left point for Pierre in the corner for Sampson. He has No all alone in front, and Sampson's centering pass is deflected all the way across into the crowd by Yves Bourgeois. Oh, the Whalers had a breakdown in coverage in front of the goal, and Gary Sampson deep in the left wing corner found Jean-Francois No. He was all by his lonesome in front, and the Sampson centering pass was deflected all the way across ice into the crowd by Yves Bourgeois. Oh, and the Jacks that time missed out on a golden opportunity. 4:25 left. Regulation, 3-3 duel. Face-off right of Daskalakis, Binghamton goal. Another very spirited, another very inspiring performance by the Jacks. From the face-off, won by the Whalers. Culhane behind the goal, given a rough ride by Lomo at the backboards, but covering in the right corner. Jensen is pass halted left circle by Harlow with a shot, and that was wide. Lomo behind the goal, centered one in front, and Daskalakis sprawls on it with Terry Perkins lurking at the doorstep. 4:11 remaining. Regulation time. And the Jacks seem to be on the prowl here in a valiant attempt, a tenacious effort to gain the tiebreaker. Perkins and Kortko on the faceoff. Left of Cleon Daskalakis, Whaler goal. All ready to go. Waiting for the linesman. Won by Kortko. Behind the goal, Shaw controls along the left wing boards for Greenlaw. Greenlaw up the boards at center for Kortko. Now Roger Kortko drifts it into the Baltimore zone, knocked down on the right defense for Richer, across for Tebbett. Greg Tebbett in the middle at center for Harlow. Scott Harlow backhands into Binghamton territory. Controlled on the left wing boards by Culhane. On the right side for Shaw, still inside the line, and back for Culhane. Now Culhane eases it up on left wing at center for Jeff Greenlaw. Drove it into the Baltimore left corner. Tebbett covers the carom in front of Jensen. Now Tebbett, a clearing pass on the left wing at his own line for Perkins. Rinkwide on right wing at center for Lomo. Reaching the Binghamton line. Poked away neatly by Culhane. Control back at center zone by Scott Harlow. Harlow back in front of his own goal for Tebbett. 3:26 left. Tebbett up the middle at center for Perkins, who rolls it in on goal. Jacks changing. Daskalakis sets it up behind the goal for Shaw. Brad Shaw for the Whalers. On left wing at his own line for Greenlaw. Rinkwide on right wing at center for Thompson. Beyond him, it skids all the way to the goaltender Bannerman, who fires it up on right wing himself. At center for Turcotte, jitterbugging in over the Binghamton line. Turcotte leads for Toomey, who overskated it on the line. Back comes Binghamton. At center, Corriveau. Over the Baltimore line, the drop pass for Thompson. His shot was muffled by Turcotte as the two tumble. Control at the Jacks left wing boards by Toomey. Now Sean Toomey up the boards at center for Turcotte. Jolted in front of the Binghamton bench by Bachorik. Control by McQuarrie. Scott McQuarrie fires down ice, reaching it behind the Jacks goal as Wayne Gagne whistle sounds. Whalers charge with icing. A break of the action. 2:40 left. Jacks 3, Binghamton 3 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Okay, boys. Terry Ficarelli rejoining you live at a noisy Baltimore arena. From the face-off left of Daskalakis. Control behind the goal by Bradshaw. Leading on right wing in his whole line for Sherla. Shane Sherla to center. Drove it off the Baltimore backboards. The Karam to the left wing boards for Richard. Knocked away to center zone though by Gagne. Control there by Shaw. Oh, the Baltimore line on right wing for Sherla. Sherla swoops in behind the goal. Waltzed into the backboards by Hoover, who squeezed him. It squirms though right in front, and it's skidded right through the legs of Martin, who was all alone in front. All the way back into Binghampton territory with 2:09 left. Shaw controls at his own line. Shadowed by No, who forces Shaw to curl back in front of the goal. Now Bradshaw on left wing at center for Culhane. Jim Culhane drifts it in behind the goal. Bannerman comes out of the goal, sends it around the right boards for Shedden, and the Jacks are away. Doug Shedden at his own line in the middle at center for Sampson. At the Binghamton line on the right wing for Jean-Francois. Oh, and he's offside. No further play, and No, with some, shall we say, showbiz tactics that time, really attempted to embellish the check of the back checker, Ivan Korivo. And we'll give him a 9.5 on that, shall we say, unfounded effort. 1:48 left for regulation. You may recount back here on Wednesday night, the Jackson Springfield skated to overtime, and they still didn't resolve matters. But the Jacks did earn their first point of the season in a 3-3 duel like this one tonight. All ready to go for the faceoff. No. In the faceoff with Kortko, one by No. Back into the Baltimore zone. Coming across the control on the left boards is Tebbett. And Greg Tebbett floats it into Binghamton territory, where it's tracked down in front of the goal by Baudouin. Now Yves Baudouin fired it off the boards to the Baltimore line, where Richer will collect it across on the left side for Tebbett. Leading on left wing at center for Sampson. Sampson checked by Vachorik, seized by Jensen. Jensen hits the Baltimore line. Wrapped up by Tebbett, who muscled him, and the Jacks are away. Sampson on right wing at center for Peer. At the Binghamton line for No. Right in front for Sampson. He shoots. Great save, Daskalakis, as Sampson strolled right in. Back comes Binghamton. Kortko in front of his own goal, left it for Vachorik. Back for Kortko at center. Kortko zooming in over the Baltimore line. Around Tebbett, right circle, centered it right in front. The shot by Korivo, a great save by Bannerman with a minute left. Now Gary Sampson at his own line. Sampson at center on right wing. Wrapped it in behind the Binghamton goal. 50 seconds left. Behind the goal, Whalers control Shaw. A long lead on left wing at center for Jim Culhane. He zooms in over the Baltimore line. Skated off by Perkins. Control behind the goal by Gagne. Now Gagne around the left wing boards at center for Scott Harlow. Harlow lashes it around the Binghamton backboards to the right side for Lomo. Lomo to the right point for Gagne. Back into the corner for Lomo. Lomo was stapled to the boards by McQuarrie. They lock it up there. Still no whistle. Still no whistle. Now finally dug out by Harlow. Harlow tried to center one in front. Perkins fired it wide. The rebound to the left point for Armstrong. 14 seconds left. Armstrong's shot struck Perkins in front. Deflects to the Binghamton left boards. Korivo controls. 6 seconds left. Yvon Corey for the center circle. Sends it in behind the goal, and we're heading for overtime for the second straight Skipjacks home game. The horn sounds. 60 minutes complete. The Jacks have earned their second point of the season by virtue of the overtime, along with Fredericton, and both have identical records of 13-4-2. The Whalers have won 6 in a row, 10 of their last 11, and 12 of their last 14. But the Jacks have been worthy of the test tonight. No matter the outcome of overtime, though, the Jacks embarking on the second quarter of the season would like to break through with that first victory. From the faceoff, Mike Richard darts in over the Baltimore line along the right wing boards, wrapped up by Armstrong. The puck in behind the goal, and Shedden is controlling. Now Doug Shedden leads on right wing at his own line for Turcotte. Alfie Turcotte, the center for Shedden. Over the Binghamton line, Shedden barges in right circle, shooting. Daskalakis the save. The rebound behind the goal. Shedden jams for it with Culhane. Culhane worked it loose neatly for Baudouin. Leading on right wing for Martin. In the middle at center for Sherla. That was knocked away by Armstrong, but trailing center circle. Baudouin with a shot, and Bannerman gloved it. Now Murray Bannerman whips it around the backboards up on right wing for Shedden. Now Doug Shedden will start out at his own line in the middle at center for Turcotte, who dances in over the Binghamton line. Turcotte into the left wing corner. working on Cronin, who gave him a rough ride. Trailing is Toomey. Left it behind the goal for Turcotte, who's wrapped up again at the backboards by Cronin, and Binghamton is away. Roger Courtco at his own line, speeding to center. Courtco over the Baltimore line, ran into Tevitt and fell. Controlled on the Baltimore left boards by Sean Toomey. He sends it down ice. Racing after it is Cronin in pursuit. No, Cronin wins the race. Jacks charge with icing. 3:49 left in overtime, and it's a 3-3 duel. The face-off will be forthcoming. Deep in Jacks territory. Circle left of Bannerman. The Jacks tonight have been superb on defensive face-offs. It has been an area that has represented their Achilles heel all season long. It was never more pronounced and enunciated last night at Hershey when 4 Bears goals were the direct results of the Jacks' ineptitude on defensive face-offs. Face-off, circle left to Bannerman, Jacks goal, and Bannerman has been superb tonight. In that third period, Binghamton outshot the Jacks 16-8. All ready to go for the face-off. Sticks come down. One by the way, there's Bachork from the right point. Fired, and that was wide. The rebound along the Baltimore right boards. Controlled by Pierre. Pierre hides it away from Bourgeois. He clears to center. Controlled again by the Jacks in front of their own goal, Tevitt. On left wing at his own line for Sampson, leaving for Tevitt. Across on right wing at center for Pierre. Jumped over his stick to the Binghamton line. Bourgeois controls. At center, his pass stopped at the Baltimore line by Pierre, who clears to center zone. Bachork poked it back into Skipjack territory, and Tevitt is on the scene on the left boards to clear to center. Jim Thompson controls that one. Thompson hoisted it on goal. Bannerman caught it, sends it diagonally across on right wing at center for Pierre. Now Britt Pierre drove it into the Binghamton right corner. Jacks changing. Shaw in front of No. His clearing pass knocked down at the line by Harlow. Stepped down as it comes back to center. Wayne Gagne controls it at center zone. Gagne wheels in over the Binghamton line. Poked off his stick by Shaw to center zone, but trailing is Armstrong. And Ian Armstrong drove it in behind the goal. 2:50 for overtime. Colhane from behind the goal sends it down ice right to the goaltender Bannerman, and that will negate icing. Bannerman himself fired it to center zone. Colhane on left wing has it again from there, and he drove it around the Baltimore backboards. All the way to the right side for Sherla, poking it in behind the goal for Martin. Now Martin into the right corner, centered one, and it comes outside the blue line. All the way back to center zone. Baudouin chased back to the line by Lomo. He left it there for Richard. Mike Richard up the left boards at center for Martin. Now Martin with a spinorama, drove it around the Baltimore backboards, and he eludes Bannerman, who came out to the Baltimore left wing boards. They jostle for it there. Harlow and Sherla. Harlow worked it loose and drifts it to the Binghamton line. 2:09 for overtime. Jeff Greenlaw on left wing at center for Cronin over the Baltimore line. Cronin left circle, shoots right on. Bannerman the save. It's lodged in his left pad. No further play. 2:02 left in overtime. A 3-3 tie. That time, Sean Cronin victimized Wayne Gagne on the Skipjacks' rather fatigued and weary defense as he poured through the left circle and drilled one. Boy, Bannerman has really been sparkling tonight in that Skipjack goal. 2:02 for overtime, 3-3 duel. Faceoff will be right of the Skipjacks goaltender, making his 4th straight start at home for Baltimore. Alfie Turcotte and Roger Courtco on this crucial faceoff. And the Jacks continue to impress with their vast improvement over the past week. They just need that breakthrough. They need to crash through that first victory to ensure confidence, which is at a low ebb, of course. Now Courtco on the faceoff. Right point for Shaw. Shaw with a kangarooing putt to contend with, fired it in front. Knocked down by Turcotte. Alfie Turcotte the center over the Binghamton line on right wing for Shedden. Shedden tried to barge in through the defense, right in on goal for Toomey, and he couldn't control it. At the right point, Riche fired over top of the net. The puck along the Binghamton right wing boards for Shaw. Shaw at center for Jensen. It traveled 2 lines. Binghamton offside. Boy, Doug Shedden powered his way in on right wing, right in on goal, and he muscled it into the crease, and Toomey couldn't quite reach it at the doorstep with 1:38 left at overtime. And boy, Doug Shedden just bowled his way in on right wing. Faceoff will be barely inside the Binghamton blue line. Below us on the Jacks left wing, 1:38 for overtime. And this Skipjacks crowd, very boisterous tonight, and they have really appreciated the Jacks' effort here this evening against the Southern Division leaders. And this is a red-hot, torrid Binghamton club. From the faceoff, collected by Corriveau at center. He was stumped by Tebbett, who bowled him over. Control back in front of the Jacks goal by Richer. Now Richer along the right boards for Toomey, up the boards at his own line for Alfie Turcotte. Leaving it on the line for Tebbett. Now Greg Tebbett's clearing pass at center, blocked by Corriveau, over the Baltimore line, left circle for, right in front for Thompson with a shot. A great save by Bannerman. He's hurt. Bannerman is sprawled outside the crease, motionless. No further play. And Dave the Bear Sherrod will gallop to the scene of the injured Jacks goaltender. Boy, that time the Jacks became careless as Toomey and Richer failed to execute the clearing pass. And McQuarrie found Jim Thompson behind the defense, right in on goal. And Murray Bannerman with a game-saving stop. And he just in a kneeling position. And now he is in a standing position. And he's all right, but Bannerman really saved the day and saved the Sunday night for the Jacks as far as their aspirations for winning their first game of the season. 1:14 left in the theater of overtime, and it's a 3-3 saw-off. Face-off right of Bannerman. A crucial one confronting the Jacks. And Jean-Francois Nault, who's had a strong third period, had a stellar third period here tonight. It'll be Nault and McQuarrie on the face-off, a pair of rookies. All ready to go now. Yvan Corriveau is encroaching very obviously on the left hash mark. He's forced back by the linesman Gary Madsen. All ready to go. Waiting for the linesman. Sticks come down. Won by Nault. He collects it off the right wing boards and he's underway. Jean-Francois Nault to center. Sends Britt Peer charging over the Binghamton line right in front for Nault, and it was knocked off his stick by Bourgeois and cleared to center by a sprawling Scott McQuarrie with a minute left at overtime. Collected back at the Jacks line by Sampson. Gary Sampson on right wing at center for Peer over the Binghamton line. Left at top of the circle for Nault. Sidestepping the check of Bourgeois. Nault centered it right through the crease and Sampson couldn't reach it. Controlled at the Binghamton right boards by Richard, who sends it down ice. Armstrong reaching it behind the Jacks goal. Icing charge against Binghamton. 40 seconds remaining in overtime. A 3-3 tie, and a moment ago, Jean-Francois Nault just darted in over the Binghamton line, and he undressed Yves Bourgeois in the right circle, and he centered one right through the crease, and Gary Sampson couldn't quite reach it with the extended stick. And this Jacks crowd standing now, applauding the Skipjacks. Rhythmic applause. 40 seconds for overtime. This has just been a great, great effort by the Jacks tonight against the Southern Division leaders. Perkins and Richard. Won by Perkins in the circle. Harlow's shot deflected over top of the net by Shaw. Dug out behind the goal by Vachorik. Now Vachorik around the right wing boards for Richard. Up the boards at his own line for Martin. Martin in the middle at center for Kortko, backhanding to the side of the Jacks goal. Bannerman himself will control it. Bannerman sails it to the Binghamton line. 20 seconds left. Now Shaw at his own line up on left wing at center for Kortko over the Baltimore line. Left circle for Richard. He couldn't catch up with it as Armstrong was there to cut it off. Now Ian Armstrong ahead at center for Perkins, romping in over the Binghamton line. Perkins from the right circle, shooting. Shaw deflects it behind the goal, and this hockey game is over. And the Baltimore Skipjacks still without a victory after 21 games, but earned their second successive tie here on home ice, and they do so tonight with certainly an
Lemieux, but not out of the zone. Allison across to McCarthy. McCarthy a backhander along the left wing side. Carlson knocked that down. Tried to clear, couldn't do it. Tukey for Hill. Hill stepping in with Allison, and he's fanned on the shot. Great setup there, and Allison fanned. Out Tukey right side. It was Hill along the end board. Back to Tukey for Fitzpatrick. Shot save. Rebound tied up. And the power play is over. We'll take timeout. 6:35 to go. Second period. We're still tied 1-1. Let's put it in here yet, though. Lamoureux out with Maxwell and Hackborn. Off the draw, Hackborn right circle drive, and he shot it wide for the sixth time. Huffman kept it in for the Bears. Lamoureux along the end boards, battling there, and it's frozen for the face-off. We'll pause here while we have a moment to allow our stations to identify themselves on the Hershey Bears Hockey Network. Hershey Medical Center. Over $9,500 raised, Norm. You and everybody else who bid really are to be congratulated.
I'll tell you, it was great. It's a shame they didn't raise a little more.
Boy, that's a great amount. Off the draw, Huffman a shot and a save. Rebound, Hackborn hustles right wing side. Centered it. But right where he should be was Dahlquist. He clears it away and carries out to center. On shot, bouncing in on goal. Jensen steers it away. And it's cleared by Greg Smith. But apparently touched something or someone along the Baltimore bench. And play is stopped.
They were short. Everybody knew they had to hustle when they came out flying.
Faceoff will come to Darren Jensen's right. Bears could use a little flying here. It's a 1-1 hockey game. 6:09 to go in the middle period. Huffman back for the Bears, I should say. Moving it ahead to Hackborn. Wing to wing. He's got Greg Smith out of the zone. Smith plays it in off of Jack. Right wing side. Bounces to the side of the net. Gannett plays it ahead near side. And Carlson nearly losing to Maxwell. Sends it behind his own net. Lamoureux chases, but Vulcan picks it up for Baltimore. He cleared it out to center with some difficulty. Bears regain. Maxwell playing it to the offensive line. It's loose and picked up finally by Ballhopper. He has Wilson with him into the Bears zone, but we have an injured Jack. Vulcan took a hip check from Mitch Lamoureux. Now I notice to our left that Mitch Wilson is down, but he's up quickly.
Being Doug Suter.
Off the face-off, the Bears have it. Kevin McCarthy looking ahead for Gillis, too far. Brubaker chases for the Bears. Now Gillis has it along the right wing side. For Brubaker behind the net. Looking back for Gillis, but it's picked up by Ballhopper. Stolen by Brubaker, sends it to the side of the net. Regained by Cornelius. He dumps it to center for Baltimore. McCarthy there for the Bears. Sends it right back in. Brubaker will pick it up. One circle shot. He shot it high. Bounces around right wing side. Armstrong kept it in for the Bears. Now it bounces along. Apparently it skipped out to the neutral zone. Sent back in offside by Hershey. So play starts with exactly 5 minutes to play. Second period. Situational officiating. Play is on. Dahlquist deep in his own zone for the Jacks. Dropping it for Vulcan. Vulcan gave it away to Allison. In front, Tukey tipped it up over the net. Mathiasen has it for Baltimore, for Vulcan. Starts it out, right defensive circle. Ahead to Lemieux. Lemieux back looking for Mathiasen. Steve Smith tipped it away. Now Jensen came out and flipped it to the far boards, that is. And Tukey starts it out for Hershey. To McCarthy. Back for Tukey. Off his stick. Fitzpatrick, but offside. Bears will take time out. 4:29 to play. Middle period. We're still tied. 1-1.
We get one. So just call 1-800-624-0100. Got it? 1-800-624-0100. Schools Without Drugs.
Play back on. And the Baltimore Skipjacks have it in their own end. Cornelius sends it around. Far side picked up and headman out of the zone by Mathiasen to Lemieux. He dumps it in left wing corner. Chased down by Mokosak and McCarthy. McCarthy touches first. Couple of good skaters there, Norm. Kevin McCarthy and Carl Mokosak. Pure skaters.
Yeah, two good players there. Both of them.
Unfortunate that Pittsburgh eliminated from the playoffs. Town really came alive for that team this year.
Yeah, they were coming along real well there. They played Philadelphia very tough.
The way they started the season, I thought they might finish as high as third. Off the draw, Fitzpatrick and Tukey left wing side. It's tapped behind the Baltimore net to the right wing corner. Set around, kept in at the point by McCarthy. Plays it back along the boards, behind the net. Allison carries it to the left wing corner, drops it for Fitzpatrick. Out to the top of the slot, McCarthy. Right wing side, bounces behind the net. Tukey in front, shot, save Gannett. He's been fine tonight. He has been very sharp. And the puck cleared all the way down by Baltimore. This will be icing again on the Jacks. Gannett looks very smooth in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely keeping them in this game. This game should have been about
90% even.
That is good.
You know, he was signed as a free agent. Nobody was particularly interested until the playoffs last year, and
Where did he play before?
Guelph Platers in the Ontario Hockey League. They won the equivalent of the Stanley Cup for junior hockey. Play is on, and Mike Rowe has it off the draw, but Gans picked it up for the Bears to Greg Smith in the slot for Gillis. A backhander tipped in front. And Gannett made the save. Rebound was loose to the circle, but picked up by Del Call, and he lifts it out to the neutral zone. Huffman back for the Bears. In his own end, ahead it goes to Gans. Across near side to Greg Smith. Bears are in their own end. Huffman ahead to Gans, looking for Gillis too far. Dahlquist steps in for Baltimore. 3:12 to go. Second period, 1-1 hockey game. Greg Smith again on it for the Bears at his own line. Ahead to Gillis. Now to Huffman. Huffman dropped it to the center line circle, but Mike Rowe is right there. Setting it back for Blaisdell, and the Jacks offside.
I think the third period you're going to see a different hockey game. I believe both teams are going to have to come out skating. Well, when you get two defenses playing good hockey, you get up a low-scoring game like that.
That's where we are right now. Bears win the draw. Ian Armstrong ahead to Lenny Hackborn. He drives it in wide of the net. It bounces in front. Lamoureux poked it wide. Now Lamoureux and Rowe battle. Puck was sent across, but picked up by Carlson. He sends it out to center. On it for the Bears. Ian Armstrong dumps it in. Offside is going to be probably whistled here. No, it's going to be waved off as the Jacks will clear it out to center. Carlson sends it in on goal. Jensen steers it away. Picked up by Mitch Wilson. Behind the Bears net. Trying to move it in front. Knocked away by Steve Smith. Ahead it goes to Lamoureux. Bears break it out 3-on-3 as Ballhopper got back in a hurry. Bears are into the zone though. In the circle left side. Maxwell a backhander and a save by Gannett. Maxwell sends it around to the near side. Chasing it down is Hackborn with Mike Rowe battling there for the Baltimore Skipjacks. He clears it ahead to Carlson. Now to Ballhopper. And play is whistled down. Apparently the Baltimore net was dislodged. We'll take a timeout. Exactly 2 minutes left to play. Second period, and it's tied 1-1. We have a 1-1 hockey game brewing here. Bellin for the Jacks. Left defensive circle. Clears it out to the neutral zone. Huffman back for Hershey. First game is a Bear. Flyers first pick. Ahead of Fitzpatrick. Trying to tip it for Tukey. But Bellin stepped in for the Jacks. Bears will regain. Huffman sends it in right wing side. Fitzpatrick is there. Dumps it deep into the Baltimore zone. Bellin for the Jacks plays it around. Huffman kept it in left point. A shot hit wide by Fitzpatrick. It's going to be loose in the circle. Rolled loose there, but the Jacks regain. Lemieux, right wing for Blaisdell. Trying to move it around. Huffman couldn't do it. Loose puck in the slot. Lemieux trying to pick it up. Unable to. Allison fell down for the Bears, but cleared it out to center. Good play there. Now the Bears. Tim Tukey stepped in with Fitzpatrick. He takes a hit. McCarthy has the puck for the Bears. Left circle looking in front. It was blocked. McCarthy still on it now for Tukey. Tukey along the end board. Battling with Cornelius. A minute left in the period. And the Jacks have it again. Lemieux gave it away to McCarthy. A shot tipped wide by Allison. And Blaisdell has it for the Jacks. He lifts it out to center. 48 seconds to go. Del Tall plays it down into the Bears zone. Second period action. 1-1 the score. Huffman ahead to Allison. He tips it to the offensive zone. Gannett comes out, plays it for Mathiasen. He sends it for Scott Johnson. Trying to send Mokasak in. Couldn't do it. Now Gans had a poke check off his stick, but the Bears will regain, and Greg Smith ahead to Jerry Gillis. Skates it back to his own line, near side for Steve Smith. Gave it away to Mike Rowe at center. And Rowe spins. He's got it center line circle. Over the line with Mokasak. Rowe still on. Sends it in front. Loose puck, but apparently a hand pass call. Now Mokasak and Greg Smith are going to be called for penalties, I believe. Two big boys there, Norm.
Yeah, they'll be offsetting there, I believe.
Mokasak glaring back at Smith.
I believe they took his name off. So maybe he'll be staying up there for the playoffs.
Play is on. Steve Smith sends it down for the Bears. Chasing is Allison. He would have gotten there first, so Gannett plays it around to the near side. 2 seconds to go. That'll do it. After 2 periods, we are still tied. 1-1. We'll be back with a second period summary right after this.
The world doesn't down with you and assist your every need. Over 100,000 Pennsylvanians make Harris Savings their financial home base. Shouldn't you look into Harris? Paris Savings. Check Paris 5-year CD rates now.
Here we go, third period underway. Puck in the neutral zone. Fitzpatrick lost it there. Dahlquist has it for the Jacks. Steps into the zone. Poke checked away by McCarthy, and Kevin will start it out. Allison at center from McCarthy, and it's poked back into the Bears zone. Alain Lemieux is there, but Huffman stayed right with him. Poke checked it away, and the puck sent around near side into Hershey zone by Tukey. Steered out to the neutral zone by Ross Fitzpatrick. Picked up by Huffman. He sends it in. Just underway in the third. And the Bears and Jacks are tied at one apiece. Now Dahlquist nearly lost it to Allison. He's got Fitzpatrick and the Swan, a backhander wide of the net. Tukey knocked down behind the net by Dahlquist. Tukey back up on the puck in front. Trying to get a backhand away. Again, he's dumped and the puck clears all the way down. I think Tukey draws a little attention out there, Norm.
Always. Well, when he gets the puck, he's exciting. He's a good puck handler.
Play is out to the neutral zone. Del Tall to Ball Hopper. Ahead to Del Tall into the Bears zone. Plays it around. Near side. Hill is there for Hershey. Dumps it down. And icing is going to be called here on the Bears. 18:41 left in the third period.
Yeah, Tukey, I believe, pushing a little bit here. You know, he's going for that
One objective right now is the playoff.
That's a definite. Yep. They have to win this tonight. They don't want to go back to Baltimore.
Play is on, and the Bears clear it out through center. Down into the Baltimore zone it goes. Belland is there. And he skates it behind his net. Shoots it around to the near side. Kept in by Hill for the Bears, but Ball Hopper regaining it there for the Jacks. Skates it back far side, and he dumps it center. Ball Hopper ahead to Del Small. Drops it deep in the Bears zone. Hill is back for Hershey. And he'll start it ahead. Al Hill ahead to Dave Gant. 3-on-2 evolving here. To Gillers, back for Gant. The shot, he scores! And it's 2-1 Bears. Beautiful. That was a beautiful setup there. That Gant has definitely been a second of the night.
That should get the Bears rolling here now.
Back come the Jacks off the draw. Blaisdell is shot, and he scores! And it's tied 2-2. The Bears give up a goal right off the goal. Blaisdell steps right in. Jensen made the save and rolled behind him, and he couldn't cover up in time. Mathiasen with an assist. Bears come right back. Huffman left circle drive. And it was blocked and cleared by the Skipjacks. Things are happening pretty fiercely right now. Icing call on the Jacks. We'll take time out. They gave the goal to Johnston. I swear that was Blaisdell.
4-0-100. Schools without drugs.
Blaisdell the goal. Mathiasen the assist. And the puck lifted up into the crowd by the Skipjacks. So the Bears, right off the draw, Blaisdell stepped in left side. And Jensen made that save, but the puck unfortunately rolled behind him. I thought he had captured it before it rolled in. Yeah, third period, 2-2 the score. And play is on again. Rolls in on goal, Huffman. Back for the Bears, behind his own net, he'll start it out. Gary Huffman ahead to Kevin McCarthy, now in turn to Fitzpatrick. Plays it into the zone, right wing side, bounces behind the net. Gannett rolls it around, Tukey held by Mokosak. Crowd wanted the penalty, Tukey still on it. In front of shot, save, rebound shot. And Gannett stays tough and holds on for the faceoff. Good pressure by the Bears.
Good goaltending, too.
Tukey had lost his glove. He showed pretty good strength there, Norm. He had Mokosak riding his back behind the net. Off the faceoff. Greg Smith, top the right circle, a shot, tipped, hit the side of the net. And it rolls around. Carlson is there for the Jacks. Sends it out to center. Steve Smith tracks it down for the Bears. Plays it ahead to Ross Fitzpatrick. At his own line. Ahead it goes to Allison. Into the zone. Right wing. Just in front. And Tukey was ridden off. Penalty coming up here on Baltimore. Ball twist is going off. And we'll take a timeout. 16:40 to go. Third period. We're tied 2-2.
Jordan this year.
He works hard all the time.
110% every game.
Play is on. Out to the point. Maxwell looking left circle. Gans in front. Let it bounce away. Now Steve Smith able to pick it up. Right circle to Maxwell. Back to Smith. One times it. Save Gannett, a beauty, and he holds on. What a save there. As he flashes out the left glove, the catching mitt, and holds on.
He's definitely NFL material.
Lamoureux still out there with Gans, Hackborn, Maxwell, and Smith. Steve Smith off the draw, picked up by Baltimore. Kellen lifts it through the neutral zone all the way down into the Hershey end. Steve Smith back to get it. Bears have a minute 35 on the power play. And Smith headmans to Maxwell in center. Left wing pass to Hackborn. He steps in. Looking for Lamoureux. Back for Steve Smith. A draw and save. Rebound. Save. Canada beauty. Lamoureux was right there. And a battle for now. Behind the net it goes. Ballin picks it up for Baltimore. He'll clear easily with Carlson, who sends it all the way down. That was another beautiful stop there by Gannett on the rebound from Lamoureux. A minute 5 left on the Bears power play. Kevin Maxwell for Hershey. Side steps Lemieux. Maxwell moving well into the zone. Takes the shot. Drops it right wing side for Fitzpatrick. In deep for Smith. Looking back for Fitzpatrick. But Lemieux anticipated that well and intercepted and cleared all the way down. Maxwell back for the Bears. Time winding out on the power play. 45 seconds to go. Steve Smith now ahead to Tukey. Tukey into the zone. Left wing side. Trying to move it around Charles. He does. Steps in. A shot. And Gannett holds on in the crease apparently. And play is frozen there. Steps right around Charleswood, but I believe Tukey lost full control as he did. That's where we are. 2-2 in the third period. 15-12 to go. Off the face-off. Hill for the Bears. Looking left wing side. He's got Tukey there. Bottom of the left wing circle. Now behind the net for Hill. Back for Tukey at the left circle. Holding, looking for Allison coming in. Hill tried to step in. Poke checked away by the goaltender Gannett. Hill wins the battle along the boards. Left circle now out to the point for McCarthy. Looking back for Hill. Too far, but Tukey's there for the Bears. 8 seconds left in the power play. Hill out to the line for McCarthy. McCarthy spins. Hill on the puck. Bounces it to the left wing board. And it's going to be kept in by the Bears. Power play is over. And the puck is tapped out to the neutral zone. Fitzpatrick plays it for McCarthy. Now to Tukey. Over the line. Looks like he put himself offside. He is dunked. Now wanted a penalty. Puck is cleared all the way down. Icing call on Baltimore. We'll take time out. 14:21 left third period. We are tied 2-2.
Dinfront Hospitality Magazine. It's so warm and comfortable. That's right. Wanda's in the Holiday Inn Mechanicsburg tonight.
The Bears have gone over the 200,000 mark in attendance. 5,428 tonight. Smith off the draw. Shot knocked down into slot by Charlesworth. Hands on it for the Bears. In deep for Gillis. Gillis ridden off by Dahlfritz. And Mathiasen has it for the Jacks. Clears it out to center. Armstrong. Ahead to Gans. Off his stick. Mike Murray trying to tap it in for the Bears, but play is whistled. Offside apparently called on Murray. Flyers leading Detroit 2-0. Play is on. Offensive zone for the Bears, and it's frozen along the left wing board. You know, New Haven's hanging stuff. Norm, I think they only have 2 games left, one after tonight. But Binghampton would really have to fold in its last 4. Of course, they're winning tonight, too, so it looks like they'll have 99. Off the draw, Steve Smith, a shot. Saved by Gannett, he holds on. And another face-off. I think we're going to see the goaltenders hold on whenever they have the opportunity. Within 7 seconds. 13:49 left to play. Norm, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. Stay put. We'll keep you on till the next break. Pleasure to have you on. I really enjoyed it. Puck is cleared out to center by the Jacks. Blaisdell carried it in. There's a regain and send it back the other way. Looks like we're right back where we were in the second period. Teams regrouping now, playing very much within themselves, tentatively. The puck cleared all the way down again. Icing waved off. Jensen sends it around, hoping Steve Smith would get to it first. He did not. It's kept in by the Jacks, but Armstrong is there for Hershey. He'll start it out. Left defensive circle ahead to Murray. Now Gans for the Bears. Back to Murray. And Mike's pass picked off by Cornelius. And the rookie sends it around. Gillis has it for the Bears in his own zone. Armstrong near side for Steve Smith. Smith plays it out to center. Lamoureux chases. And Lamoureux will touch, but a two-line pass called. Cornelius, a big hit on Lamoureux. And we will take a timeout again. Norm, thank you for joining us. A pleasure to have you on, and thanks again for your contribution to charity.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Covering the area, reporting on the events that affect you most. Tune to Greater Radio 58 WHB for news on the half hour and for the 58 update. News twice an hour. Greater information all day. You need to know, and the area's largest radio news team finds the answers for you. Greater news, only on the Great 58 WHB.
Play is on. The Jacks with a couple of good opportunities. And we are going to have a penalty up coming now, I believe, on the Bears.
I believe you're right, Dan, and I think we might get a few more good opportunities here. Scoring of the goal was a boost.
Just have to see what happens here in the last 12 minutes and 23 seconds. Face off to the right of Darren Jensen. Off the draw. Mokosak nearly stepped right in. Good job by McCarthy. Bears break it out. Lamoureux trying to move it around Charlesworth. He does. Steps in, a shot. And a save by Gannett. Lamoureux got that away with one hand. And Bellin has it now for Baltimore. Penalty really just underway for the Jacks. Bellin sends it in, right wing side. Jensen out of the net, plays it to the near board. Picked up by the Jacks, sent back even the Bears' head around by McCarthy, but kept in left point by Charlesworth. He backhands it behind the Bears' net. Lemieux around the Mokosak, right wing corner. Now along the right wing boards, Mokosak out to the circle, and for Lemieux, a pass across, intercepted by McCarthy. And blocked off, actually a battle now along the end boards. And picked back up by Lemieux. Alain Lemieux, 96 points on the year. Mokosak trying to send it in front. Blocked. Blaisdell has it. Right wing corner for Lemieux. Centers it. And Jensen was able to find it and hold on for the faceoff.
Good play by Kerry Huffman in front. Getting one of the league's tough men to work on right away. Carl
Third at 7:52.
Do you have any idea why he got a game of Sunday?
No. Nope. Off the draw. Puck cleared all the way down. Charlesworth. Back around to the near side. Ahead it goes to Lemieux. Lemieux into the zone. Left wing side. Alain Lemieux. Stick handling well. Plays it to the far side. Armstrong, a good job to get there and tip it out to center. Now Gillis tipped it ahead. As Charlesworth to beat. Gillis stops. Left circle has Steve Smith. A drive shot. And a blocker save by Gannett. Good setup there by Jerry Gillis. And Smith didn't get quite all of that. Otherwise, it might have been in. Gannett reacted well, though. Mathiasen tapped it back into the Bears zone. Still on the power play, the Jacks. Mokosak looking for Mathiasen. That puck knocked down and caught by Hill. Not clear. Right point. Cornelius. The shot. Blocked away by Armstrong. And Hill played ahead. He's got Gillis and Hill. Nice 10-man pass for Hill. He's got Gillis for him. A shot. Save. Rebound. Shot. Saved by Gannett. And he holds on for the faceoff. And a fight down below here. Mokosak. I'm not sure who he's got.
Gary Gillis. There's about a couple good opportunities here, even though shorthanded. That one was set up by a good pass from Ian Armstrong. Out of his own end up to Al Hill, who had a 2-on-1 with Gillis. And Hill opted to shoot. A couple players had pokes at the rebounds as Gannett was bobbling it. Looks like Gillis is hurt. Lost his shirt.
There's a man short. Jacks with another power play opportunity. Off the draw, puck loose. And out comes Baltimore. Richard had trouble getting out of his zone, but now drops it for Alain Lemieux. Left wing side for Blaisdell. Across, tipped away. It hits Stewart. And that's the crowd reaction you hear. Jack dig it out in the right wing corner. Richard behind the Bears net. Trying to play it in front. Armstrong knocked it away. Richard back on it. Knocked away by Steve Smith. Now Blaisdell skates it to the right wing side. At the circle. Holding there. Blast away. Save. Jensen rebound. Clear to the line, but not out. Good job by Billin. Now Lemieux in deep for Richard. Trying to move it in front. Stolen by Armstrong. Armstrong whacking at it. Clears it out to the line. Out to center. Now Tukey in a foot race with Lemieux. Lemieux won it. And able to move it to Blaisdell. Ahead it goes to Richard into the Bears zone. Left wing side. Stolen away by Armstrong, and he clears. Armstrong, good shift there. Jack's on it again. Lemieux to Richard now. Richard carries out to the neutral zone. Sends it into the Bears end. Bounces around right wing side. Cleared by Hershey and out to center. McCarthy's there. Kevin McCarthy just lightly taps it all the way down the ice. 31 seconds left on the Gillis minor. Out come the Jacks again. Alain Lemieux, their leading scorer. Headmanning looking for Ballhopper. Two-line pass is called. We'll pause here to allow our stations to identify themselves on the Hershey Bears Hockey Network.
Kurt Gregory.
Hill is out there with Allison McCarthy and Terry Huffman for the Bears. The Bears have 21 seconds left to try to kill off this Gillis minor. And we'll try to get an injury report on Jerry Gillis as soon as we can. Jim Starr is downstairs. Play is on inside the Baltimore zone. Ballhopper. His pass to center, knocked down by Hill. Allison trying to move in neutral zone, but Dahlquist is there. Drops it back. Power play is over. Now Carlson has it for the Jacks. Ahead to Wilson. Wilson looking left wing for Ballhopper. Off his stick into the Bears zone it goes, but Hershey out to center. And a puck banged back to the Bears line. McCarthy had it there momentarily. Now Hackborn over the line. Right circle, Hackborn. As Huffman breaking for the net. But what do we have here? Now McCarthy and Wilson. And that stops play at center ice. Wilson's going off.
Well, it's twice in this game that I noticed there's the momentum. It's time to run a bit of a rush. And a fight. Blow off the play. Breaks it up. The other time they were controlling the puck in the second period.
Don't get a penalty. That's interesting. Play is on. Drew Baker for the Bears. Right circle of Fitzpatrick. Down to McCarthy. A shot. Hit. Wide by Tukey. Drew Baker back on it. Right circle. Out to the point. Allison. Wrist shot. Wide. Tosses around left wing side. McCarthy kept it in. Tukey is there. Tukey was bumped behind the net. The net was dislodged and play is stopped. We'll take timeout. 7:41 left. We're in the third. We're tied 2-2.
You've got Reese's Pieces. One great tasting candy. Yeah! Oh, Digitins, your parents go away and take the car keys. Oh, no! Reese's Pieces, the winning combination.
Offside call on the Bears. Crowd doesn't like it. Faceoff will come back to the neutral zone. Jacks would not be able to catch the Bears in the wing column. But still a long way to go. Allison has it for the Bears. Dumps it in. Around it goes. Left wing side. Fitzpatrick. Along the left wing boards to Tukey. Around in front. Now right side. Tukey holding. Outer hash mark. Right circle. Moves in. Looking for Fitzpatrick. That was picked off nicely and cleared by Baltimore. 7:09 to go. Third period. McCarthy back for the Bears. 1:05 left in their power play. And McCarthy will start it out. Sliding it ahead for Allison. Allison left wing for Tukey. Into the zone. Lost control of the puck. Gets back on it. Along the end boards now. Tips it for Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick holding. Back to Tukey. Top of the right circle. McCarthy a drive. Wide. Fitzpatrick on the rebound. Looks like he was leaving it for Tukey. Nearly cleared by the Jacks. Kept in by Allison. Now Fitzpatrick a shot. Blocked in front. Drew Baker overskated. Shot by Fitzpatrick just wide. Not much wood on it as he was checked. And it's cleared by Baltimore into the seats below us here. Way down at ice level.
Went right into the Baltimore bench. If it does get to the point then where...
Top of the Bears. He's out there with Hackborn, Maxwell, Huffman, and Smith. Off the draw. Lamrou looking for Maxwell. Left wing side. Maxwell battling, but the puck picked up now by Cornelius. Off to Jackson, his own zone, and he drives it all the way down. Icing was being waved off there. I'm not sure why, but it rolled in on goal anyway. Huffman leaves it for Lenny Hackborn. Back to Kerry Huffman. He'll start it out for the Bears. See some skating room. He'll take it. Over the line. Left wing side. Fakes the shot. Trying to move in front. He sent it in front, but it was cleared away by Charlesworth. Lamrou was on it briefly. Now Scott Johnson hands it for the Jacks. And he carries out to center. Over the line. Right wing side. Moves right through Huffman. A shot and a save by Jensen. Nice move there by Scott Johnson, stepping around the rookie defenseman Kerry Huffman. Back come the Bears. Huffman looking right wing side for Hackborn. That was knocked down in the neutral zone. Maxwell lost it at center. Now Mathiasen steps in for the Jacks. A shot saved by Jensen. He holds on. Bears played a little giveaway there in the neutral zone. And Jensen stood his ground. Face-off though will come in the Hershey end. Bears 1 for 4 on the power play now. Out to center it goes. And Bellin lifting it into the offensive zone. Gans back for the Bears. He'll start it out from behind his own net. Dave Gans. Ahead it goes to Greg Smith. To Hill. Hill cuts it left wing. Over the line with Gans. Gans had it pop off his stick. Chases it right wing side. Hill is there. The puck sent around near side. McCarthy trying to keep it in for the Bears. He did, but Mathiasen regains and finds it ahead for Johnson. Into the zone. Offside. We'll take timeout. 4:57 to go. We're in the third. We're tied 2-2.
For Ford. Call now for all the facts. The number 232 Ford.
Play is on. Charlesworth for the Jacks at the red line. Shoots one into the Bears zone. Bounces around right wing side. Mitch Wilson is there. Along the end board. Ball hopper spins Armstrong down. Bears able to clear. Out through the neutral zone. Down into the Hershey end. Dahlquist back to get it. And Dahlquist will backhand to the head out of the zone. Steve Smith on it for the Bears at center. Plays it across for Armstrong who shoots it in. Charlesworth back again for Baltimore. At Fitzpatrick in the slot. That bounced away. Good job by Fitzpatrick to keep it in. Along the cross to center. 2-on-1 break. Alain Lemieux and Mitch Wilson. Left circle in front. Saved by Jensen to get a piece of that. And the Bears back the other way. Fitzpatrick with Allison. Over the line. Tukey trying to move in. A shot. Save. Rebound. Score!
Time like this, you got to be able to count on your veterans to come through. And they did. Tim Tukey following up on a rebound. Goes to Pascanet. All started down at the other end, though. Darren Jensen had to make a big save to keep Baltimore from scoring. That's often happens.
Ross Fitzpatrick. And Allison back come the Jacks. Blaisdell into the zone, a shot saved by Jensen. For the second time in a row, Blaisdell has stepped right in off a Bears goal. This time Jensen makes the save over the line. Maxwell looking for Lamrou instead. Right point, McCarthy a shot. Tipped wide. Lamrou and Hackborn behind the net, but it's frozen there. We may have an injured Jack. I believe we do. At the side of the net, Neil Bellin.
Make sure it stayed on the net. The face-off went outside. He wasn't actually injured.
Play is on. Puck sent in, right wing side by the Jacks. Jensen behind the net, leaving it there for Kerry Huffman. He sends it around. Allison shoots it out to center. Tukey chases. Belland is there. Puck loose, neutral zone. Knocked back in by Lemieux, so no offside. Cornelius sends it around. Mokosak will dig it out and play it ahead. Right to Allison, no. Bears have it at the neutral zone. Allison caroms it to the offensive line. Belland is there for the Baltimore Skipjacks. Near side for Jeff Cornelius. Ahead to Mokosak. Into the zone. Or he tried to, couldn't do it. Fitzpatrick back the other way for the Bears. Sends it in, right wing side. Charlesworth for Baltimore, give it away to Gans. Gans, neutral zone, just plays it down deep into the Baltimore, and it's going to be picked up there by the Jacks. Chris Charlesworth ahead to Mokosak at center. Mokosak dumps it in offside. And a delayed offside is waved off. Bears have it out of the zone. Dave Gans, center ice circle. Plays it in left wing corner. Jeanette now behind the net, dropping it there. Plays it back near side. Mike Murray stepped in for the Bears. Couldn't control, and out comes Baltimore. Richard ahead to Ballhopper. Taps it into the Hershey zone, left wing side. Jensen out of the net. McCarthy, though, steaming around. Played it to the near boards. Murray back for the Bears. Puck picked up by Ballhopper. Ballhopper, right circle. Plays it in the slot for Richard, a shot. Kicked away by Jensen. That one had not much wood on it at all. Left point, though, Charlesworth, a shot blocked. And another shot by Charlesworth, wide. Mathiasen chases right wing corner, taps it to the left wing side, takes a hit from Steve Smith. Puck picked up, turnaround shot by Dahlquist, one wide. Jacks with pressure here, Charlesworth a drive save. Rebound to Al Hill, and he'll clear it out through center. Back on it, Dahlquist, a minute and a half to go in regulation. Hackborn will pick it up, neutral zone. He steps in a shot, he shot it just wide. Hackborn on his own rebound behind the net, around to the right wing circle. He has Maxwell breaking left wing. Lamoureux sends it left wing corner. Chased down by Maxwell and Lamoureux. It's picked up, though, by the Jacks. Cleared out to center ice. Gary Huffman back to Lamoureux. On to Hackborn, a shot by Lamoureux, and that was blocked by the defenseman, Todd Charlesworth. A minute 4 to go in the third period. Jacks send it back into the Bears zone. Plays down, chases, centers it. Hackborn was back for the Bears. Maxwell ahead to Hackborn, too far. It's at center. Belland is there. Center ice circle, dumped by Hackborn. Carlson sends it in for the Jacks. Goaltender is out to our left. Armstrong couldn't send it around. Plays down left circle for Belland, but stepping in was Lamoureux. Empty net. Lamoureux down the right wing side to the red line. It's kicked free, though, and Belland has it for Baltimore. 33 seconds to go. Ahead, it goes to Carlson. Knocked down by Armstrong. Out of the zone. 26 seconds left. Sent in by the Jacks. Maxwell back for the Bears, shoots it around the glass, bounces, and it's cleared to center. Tukey with Fitzpatrick out there. That's center ice. Tukey breaking for the net. Fitzpatrick is gone!
And Tukey should pick up an assist on that because he fed it to Fitzpatrick.
12 seconds to go. It's 4-2 Bears, and empty netter, and the Bears are in the playoffs. And his 118th point of the season. One shy of the Bears all-time 21st overall. Play is back on. Allison for the Bears. Bangs it off the boards and down. This will be icing on Hershey. We'll take a timeout. 5 seconds to go. It's 4-2 Bears.
Introducing Hardy.
To the score. 5 seconds to go. Tim Tukey within 1 point of the Bears all-time single-season scoring record. Play is on. The seconds winding down. It's over. Or false start, apparently. 3 seconds left now.
And the Skipjacks are arguing that there should be another second on the clock. Not that it's going to make much of a difference.
Play on again. The shot blocked in the circle. That's it. The final score, the Bears 4. And the Skipjacks 2, Hershey Bears will open the Calder Cup playoff series against either the Binghampton Whalers, Rochester Americans, or New Haven Nighthawks. Probably the Whalers. The Bears are in the playoffs. Baltimore 12 shots on goal. And the Bears with 17. We'll be back with a full third period summary right after this.